I think our leader, Trudeau, I don't think I've ever heard him say a true word.
Oh, hello. Do you have a warrant to be here?
Oh, yeah.
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
Wiggle and squirm as you might, it is really hard to put lipstick on a pig.
When I'm Prime Minister, I will keep my promises.
WTF.
Here.
I know this place is where I am. No other place is better than. No matter where I go, I am proud to be Canadian. I am, you know I am. The worst that works.
The one we call Canadian.
Gentlemen, beam me aboard.
A day after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's ministers voiced confidence in him, he could face a different sentiment at a caucus meeting today. Some disgruntled MPs are expected to voice their displeasure at the PM and ask for him to step down at their national caucus meeting. Dozens of MPs have reportedly signed an internal document calling for Trudeau to resign. Meanwhile, his cabinet was backing him 100% yesterday.
The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the leader of the Liberal Party. And the Prime Minister is going to lead the Liberal Party in the next election. That's very simple.
Now, Trudeau says he's not worried about an internal revolt and he is instead focusing on his government's priorities.
Well, the voters in New Brunswick have chosen change and made some history in the process. Liberal leader Susan Holt will be the first ever female premier of the province.
I want to thank every voter, every person who came out and exercised their right to vote and participate to keep our democracy strong. Thank you to everyone who voted, and a special thank you to everyone who voted for Team Holt and our amazing candidates that we elected tonight.
There she is, Premier-designate Susan Holt at her victory party last night. Her party won a majority in the election, sweeping into power with 31 of New Brunswick's 49 seats. The outgoing premier, the Progressives' Conservative leader Blaine Higgs, offered his congratulations to Holt in a concession speech last night.
It's certainly not the night we'd hoped for. Nevertheless, it is what it is. So the people of New Brunswick have spoken, and I have called and congratulated Susan Holt and her team on their victory. Susan, you've earned the trust of the people, and I wish her here every success as she takes on the challenges that lie ahead.
Higgs lost his seat in the Legislative Assembly last night as well. Liberal Ehren Kennedy won the St. John area riding of Quispamsis by a margin of just 193 votes. Higgs did not announce his resignation outright, but he told CBC News it was, quote, extremely unlikely he would stay on as party leader. So that's where we begin on this Tuesday morning with Brett Ruskin once again live in Fredericton. Political history made in New Brunswick last night. Brett, tell us about the outcome and about the first female leader of that province.
Good morning, Heather. Yeah, that's right. History made. The first woman to hold the office of Premier here at the New Brunswick Legislature. So that party that you saw, that victory party, happened at a hotel just right across the street, right over here. And so they are going to be forming, Team Holt is going to be forming the new government. So the breakdown of the seats went like this. 49 seats available in the legislature, 31 went to the Liberals, 16 went to the Progressive Conservatives, and 2 went to the Green Party. But really that key moment of the night happened when Holt delivered her speech. It was energetic, it was eloquent, it was bilingual, and she reflected on the past and looked ahead to the future. Here's a little bit more of that speech last night.
We don't take it lightly that you have put your trust in myself and my team, and that you have hope for a brighter future. But that hope I know is short-lived, and it is going to be on us to deliver authentically, on the ground, openly and transparently. It's going to be on us to bring the change that you're asking for every day and everything we communicate with you. But I know we can do it with teamwork. I know we can do it with a focus on the people of New Brunswick. The people of New Brunswick that are our biggest asset. C'est vous autres qu'on fait ce travail.
So a very positive, uplifting speech. And you'll notice that a lot of the language focused around Team Holt. There was almost no Liberal branding on any of the signage that was used. That was in a way to distance the provincial Liberal Party from the federal Liberal Party, because the opponents were trying to paint Susan Holt and the provincial Liberals with the same brush as the Trudeau federal Liberals. So that was part of the strategy there. But overall, Susan Holt and the Liberals taking the win last night here in New Brunswick. Heather.
And we're going to talk through the morning, Brett, with you. I know about her agenda and the priorities for the new Liberal government of the province. But let's talk for a moment about Blaine Higgs, the outgoing premier, the leader of the Progressive Conservatives. He had been in power for 6 years, was hoping to do what nobody else had done and have 3 consecutive terms. And as he said, as we heard in his concession speech, it wasn't the night that he and the party had hoped for. What is he going to do now?
It wasn't his night, indeed, Heather. So what is he going to do now? Well, he says that he's going to stay on as premier for now, but there will be a leadership assessment, a leadership review. So we'll have to wait for more details about that. But not his night on 2 counts. For one, the PC's not winning the election, but also he not winning his own seat in his own riding. So here he is speaking to supporters in his riding after last night's defeat. Take a listen.
We have a wonderful province. We have a lot to be thankful for. We have, we've seen people find our province for the first time internationally, nationally, and it's growing in leaps and bounds. And, I'm honored to have been in office while that has been going on, and I wouldn't have done it, been able to do it without the tremendous support from so many volunteers, so many people dedicated to the cause.
And so again, some fresh faces likely coming to the PC party as a result of that upcoming leadership review. And so we'll have to watch for that. But again, the main takeaway is that Susan Holt will be Premier of New Brunswick here, with the legislature filled with 31 seats, Liberal, 16 PC, and 2 Green Party as a result of last night's election. Heather.
The Liberal majority in New Brunswick. Brett, and you are there for that political history. We'll be back to you through the morning for more in New Brunswick. Thank you, Brett Ruskin.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Ehren right here, Canadian Looney. I live in an amazing part of our country. In general, I kind of feel like life maybe owes me something, which it doesn't. But anyhow, I'm just trying to get to know my audience a little more. I live in this most amazing place in the country, and we're going for a walk. Like, gonna show you what it's like where I live. So, and just to chat. I started this channel like about a year ago, and it's doing pretty well. We focus on Canadian federal politics here. We have an amazing community that's growing. It's really strange. I've become friends with so many people that, again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in over my head. I've got a great support crew. I've got Captain Kirk and Miss Sheila, Mr. Pickles, Dimebag Coins. Check out Dimebag's Coins channel. And then so many other people that hang out with us every day. Like, again, we're just walking down to the waterfront. I want to show you this amazing place that I live in. It's so friggin' pretty here, and people are kind. People, I think, are kind because of how pretty it is here. Like, I think it affects people. The state of Canadian politics is really rotten. When I started doing the channel, I came in blind. I didn't even know what side I was on, hadn't voted in a while, like, but it took maybe 3 or 4 like question periods, and I was like, oh my God, these people are lying right to their faces. And I'm not a big fan of like Canadians being duped. I've got a bit of that naivete that we all have, like that Canada is a better nation than that. Depends on the government, right? Anyways, guys, we're getting into some, we're down the waterfront now. Gonna walk out on one of the fingers here and give you a real good look at how pretty this place is that I live. Did you see that house that I walked out of? That's where I live. I own that house. No mortgage. I got lucky on a house deal there a couple of months ago and bought the house I grew up in. And now I do this. Okay, well, there's not many boats moored right now because, well, it's October, so they all have them brought ashore. Well, mostly. See where we're going? Did you see? I don't know what kind of job this camera's doing for us right now. But we're out here. Now we're out here. See this? It's pretty friggin' amazing where I am. Like, look at this. Here we are. And then I'm gonna go and do our show here in a little while about Canadian federal politics. Like, what did we get ourselves into when I was going to start a YouTube channel? And I still might do this. I wanted to do like movie and television reviews. I used to watch a lot of that stuff. Now all I watch is politics. But for years and years, I thought about a gaming channel. But once I started doing the Canadian federal politics and seeing what is going on, like, they're trying to dupe us. I'm not down with that. I'm not gonna. And they do fool my mom, so I take that personally. But it's such a weird time. So, again, I'm not sure what kind of a job we're doing here. Look at this place, man. So, do I feel spoiled to be here? I had a lot of bad years when I was in the city. I worked for a corporation that it was a disaster. I was there for 17 years. Not one of them was enjoyable. Terrible, terrible company. A lot of good employees at the company, just that it's corrupt. It's a big corporation. They sell booze here in Nova Scotia, and they're dirty, rotten. We'll go for a little bit more of a walk just to show you where it is, because I do feel blessed to be here, and the people here are so nice. Like, I don't know how rural it is, a place you live in. This village has about 500 people, and when I was growing up, it was always a very poor area. It was one of the poorest areas in the country, actually. And then they got lucky. The municipality got a deal cut with the Sable Project where they made some money, and they invested it right back in the community. My old man, before he jumped, was a municipal councilor. Growing up, he was like elementary school principal, school administrator. Anyhow, this little community is super cool. We do have a bank here. Look at our Royal Bank. Where's that? That's our bank. They used to say back in the day it had a lot of money because it was so rural. I don't know. People don't talk about that stuff anymore. Anyways, like some of the infrastructure in a little remote community like this, we have sidewalks. Look at how far that sidewalk goes all the way up past my place. Like, it's so gorgeous down there on the waterfront. I think we're gonna walk back down. Anyhow, you guys let me know what you think about these walk-arounds, because I could do these a lot. I need to prepare for them because like today I just started walking and talking. But if I have an idea of what I'm going to talk about, I can fill the time. I've been watching so much of this Canadian federal politic game, and it's so dirty. Like, the stakes are so high, the scandals are so corrupt. Like, it's a very strange time. It's hard to believe, like, that it's happening in Canada. Like, the other day I said to my mom, I'm like, I think Justin Trudeau is like a terrorist. And she blushed. Like, she gets her news from like CBC, CTV, whatever. I ask her to watch my channel, but I get it. Politics is boring, right? Like, if you're not aware of how dangerously corrupt our current government is, then you wouldn't know. You'd just be like, politics is boring. It doesn't matter. It matters so much. Like now, because there are so many people looking away because it's hard to look at. It is frustrating to watch. Have these MPs come into your house during question period and lie to your face. Super frustrating. Yeah, we're gonna walk out on the other finger. That there is, that's the Little Island. I think that's Little Island. And we've got Big Island too, it's on the other side. Jeff Jameson and I used to spend hours out here. Man, it was a great spot to go to hide and troll mackerel and have some beers. Like, when we were kids, right? Like, 17 or 18 years old. mackerel fishing is some of the most entertaining fun I've ever had. Like, you get like 6 mackerel on a line and they're all swimming in the same direction. It's a battle right there. Pretty fun. But like I say, when I was a kid, they used to dump the sewage right into the harbor here. It's been about 30 years, I think, since they've cleaned that up. And the harbor did recover very quickly. It's a weird thing, nature. Climate change. Look at the calendar, seasons change. So yeah, we're out here on the other finger now. We've even got some grass growing on the dock. Anyhow, that's it. Sorry, a little bit of a breeze, so that's gonna mess up our audio. But let's take a 360. Look at that. Let's frame that up. It's not my boat. Hey guys, this is my boat. Since I started doing YouTube, the money's been rolling in. About that, YouTube ain't bad. Like, people always say, like, gotta go X, or gotta go Rumble, or something like that. If you steer between the lines, you can pull off YouTube. I get demonetized all the time for shit, but when that does not happen, which is most of the time, it's not lucrative, but you can do okay on here. I think I'm gonna survive this leaving my government job. People say I'm crazy for doing that. Not if you hate it. Not if those people, like, realized what kind of contempt you have for the way they run a company. Yeah. Not gonna get too heavy into that. It is on my mind today, though. It is on my mind today. Anyways, that's a quick tour of my lower village. I think we're gonna walk back to the house, go right in, and maybe not even take a look at this, just play it. I do love my chat room, and the people that watch my channel all the time. It is more than appreciated. Like, we've got a good thing going on here. There's no doubt, like, that we have a connection, and we are patriots. We're looking for change for each other, for our futures. Like, I don't have kids, but if I did, I'd be worried for them. Yeah, so this is Lower Main Street. Right there to my left is Upper Main Street. What's up? Is that Willie? Yeah. Sorry, I'm recording for my show, whatever. My name's Ehren McDonald. You know me.
I remember your face, but I don't remember what name.
Miles and Donna McDonald's son?
Oh my. How you doing?
Good, Ben. No.
Oh, he's been down visiting?
No, I bought the house.
You bought the house?
Yeah.
That's you. Oh, okay. How's your mom doing? Any better?
She's not gonna recover. She's doing good though. Like,
she's in the apartment up there.
Yep. She's real sick. But anyhow, Willie. So I'm up there, 53 Main. Drop in.
Good to see you.
No, like, we grew up playing road hockey and all that shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been back home?
Oh, see, I took Yeah, no, 10 years.
10 years or so?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Well, I've been
I
home
just-
3 months.
I couldn't stay away. I wanted to come home. Yeah.
No, this is a beautiful place, man. Like, I do a YouTube channel, and I'm just kind of showing for my audience,
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
like what I walked it on the fingers down there.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I thought that was you. Somebody told me that it was you walking around, so I got close and I was like, "Hey, Willie, what's up?"
Yeah, it's good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Um,
How's your sister?
Good.
Good.
Lori's awesome.
Where's she at?
Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she married a guy from here, down from St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And they were married for like 20 years. They just recently are splitting up, but she's great. They've got 3 kids.
Oh,
They're like, I think the youngest is 16.
Oh, really?
So they're all grown up.
Yeah.
And
She comes
Lori
to-
went back to school.
Oh, yeah.
So
She
she's
comes to visit you, does she?
yeah, she was here this summer.
Okay, yeah.
She was down in summer. She looks good. My sister's a real stud.
Yeah. Played road hockey. That's what all we did all the time.
That's all we did all the time before the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, we got lots of exercise back then.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time. I see you walking all the time. I wasn't sure if it was you, but then
that's me.
good to see you, man.
Good to see
so
you.
I'm up there in the red house.
Yeah.
Drop up.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Check out my channel. Do you ever go online?
Sometimes.
Canadian Looney.
Okay.
That's the name of my channel.
All right.
Check it out.
All right.
Just to give it, it's Canadian federal politics.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing, but we're having fun.
All right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Take care.
How fun is that? Pretty friggin' fun. That's Willie Scott, man. I haven't seen Willie Scott in 40 years. 40 years. Guaranteed. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, we're just gonna head back home. And I don't think I'm even gonna watch this video. I think I'm just gonna play it. It is breezy right now, so I'm not sure how this phone does with the wind. It's not wind, it's a light breeze. Anyways, Willie Scott, good to see you. And he smelled good too. Those sweaters came right out of the laundry. It's awesome. Good to see you, man. I think I am gonna like living back here. It's taken a little while. I had whatever. My old man took a jump there a couple years ago, almost as the anniversary coming up, and screwed up the whole community. And a lot of people still are uncomfortable, like to talk to you or whatever, because they feel like they need to say something. They don't. My dad was a community leader here. They've named buildings after him, like already. The theater here is called the Miles McDonald Theater. Like, well respected man. He was my best buddy, and it was I think everybody else thought it was a total surprise. I knew he wasn't doing well, and he had always done well, but at the end life gets to you. And maybe COVID was a big impact, like people got shut down. He lost his hearing. It's tough. Anyways, I do miss my buddy. He'd be very happy with what we're doing here on the channel. He wouldn't agree with anything that I'm saying other than the idea of doing it. So, again, he'd support my idea of doing it. He wouldn't agree with many of the things that I think and say. Let's get in here. Shut this down. Anyhow, gang, that's our walk in Guysborough. We got to see Willie. That was pretty fun. We're out. We're just gonna play this.
Not many of us were here when Senator George Baker was a member of this august chamber, but Senator Baker would get up and say, "I have just a few words to say on a matter." I have a few words to say today on the speech from the throne, and in particular, Justin Trudeau's legacy, his legacy of scandals. Colleagues, we are now in the 9th year of Justin Trudeau's reign in power. While it will be up to historians to write some years from now what exactly should be remembered about him, I would like to take the opportunity to outline just a few highlights of the Prime Minister's legacy. In his 2015 report on senators' expenses, former Supreme Court Justice Ian Benny wrote the following: "Senators also play a significant role in questioning, criticizing, and holding to account the government in the traditional language of Sir Walter Bagehot. It falls to the Houses of Parliament to inform the nation of defects in administration, and even of teaching the nation, altering it for the better, teaching the nation what it does not know." Colleagues, this is what this speech is about. Teaching the nation, telling the nation what it may or may not know about Justin Trudeau, or rather reminding Canadians what the last 9 years have been all about. I know some of you dream about a Senate that would be above partisanship. Of course, when a Liberal says it means that the Senate should never, when a Liberal says that, it means that the Senate should never criticize the Liberals. Their definition of partisanship is this: attacking Liberals is partisan, but attacking Conservatives is democratic debate. We will not fall into this trap, colleagues. To quote the Prime Minister himself, if the Senate serves a purpose at all, it is to act as a check on the extraordinary power of the Prime Minister and his office. That, colleagues, is what the Conservative opposition in the Senate has been doing since 2015. And this is what we will continue to do as long as the Liberals manage to hold on to government. The first aspect of Justin Trudeau's legacy that I want to point out about is his record and his government's record on ethics. The motion on the speech from the throne is the ideal venue for this, as I will cover a lot of general policy of the government. Historically, the Liberal Party of Canada has always fostered a culture of nepotism and corruption. But the Trudeau Liberals are a special breed of Liberals. First, they are totally incompetent. So their many, many ethical breaches are a mix of goofiness, incompetence, and moral turpitude. The Trudeau Liberals are also special in their belief that whatever they do, even if it is unethical, is done for a higher cause. They truly believe they are above the law, and that the ethics rules are only for mere mortals, not for them, the great justice warriors. Let me quote Andrew Coyne, who wrote in the Globe and Mail last December. Liberals have always been prone to being corrupted by power, but the current crop of Liberals are unique for being corrupted by their own virtue. The preening moral vanity that is a signature of the Trudeau Liberals, the gratitude, as in the Pharisees' prayer, that they are not like other men, is not, alas, an act. They truly believe it to the point that they are literally incapable of conceiving of themselves doing wrong. It isn't only that they are surrounded by people like themselves. In other words, they are surrounded by people who think like them, and whose first thought at all times is whatever it is they are thinking must be for the good. That was Andrew Coyne. That makes the Trudeau Liberals so inoculated to ethical breaches that they no longer even recognize him. They have been dragged, kicking and screaming, over a flaming bed of hot coals that they themselves created before they even admit that something might be wrong. Then, when caught, they would like us to forgive and forget because they mumble, "I'm sorry," with a little tear in the corner of their eye. We all know they are not sorry about anything. They are not even good actors. So since 2015, the Trudeau Liberals did what Liberals always do: give jobs and contracts to friends. And of course, one of the most coveted prizes is a judgeship. As soon as he came to power, Dominique LeBlanc wrote to citizenship judges to pressure them to resign so that he could appoint Liberals in their place. The media has reported that high-level judges attended pricey Liberal Party fundraisers before being appointed by Trudeau. In fact, the journalists found that over 75% of Canadian judges appointed are donors to the Liberal Party.
Shocking. Wow.
At least 6 current Superior Court justices may have paid to meet with the Prime Minister or the Deputy Prime Minister at Liberal Party fundraisers shortly before being appointed. The Minister of Justice and the Prime Minister's office had to admit that they were using the Liberal list before making appointments to the bench. Now, maybe that is why the government seems unable to appoint enough judges, because the pool of Liberal supporters is getting smaller and smaller. Also, there are all kinds of trouble with the diplomatic appointments of Justin Trudeau. Remember, the Prime Minister decided to fire Stéphane Dion, the worst foreign affairs minister in a long time. Now, that was a good move, but the Liberals managed to bungle his appointment as ambassador, giving him 2 different posts. The appointment to the EU had to be rescinded after the EU protested. Now, speaking of bungled appointments of a disgraced minister, who can forget John McKellen, who was so bad he got fired twice, first as a minister, then as an ambassador in China. He just simply forgot that he was working for Canada in China and not the contrary. There has been quite a number of Trudeau cronies placed in diplomatic posts. Now, this should not be such a problem if these appointments receive normal compensation for Canadian diplomats. But at least 9 well-connected Liberals received compensation as diplomats higher, above the regular pay scale, including 3 former ministers. Now, I don't dispute for a second that someone who has been involved in public life can make a great diplomat, and that the Prime Minister does not have to appoint career diplomats as ambassadors or consuls. But what justifies the fact that these political appointees are paid more than a career diplomat? Is the cost of living in Paris or London or New York higher if you are a friend of Justin Trudeau compared to a bureaucrat? I suppose it is if you want to invite Justin Trudeau to spend the night. This is a very good example of what Canadians know as Liberal entitlements. Now, one of those overpaid Liberals is Bob Rae, the ambassador in the United Nations, a former Liberal leader. The man managed to insult a list of people through Twitter, including the British Prime Minister and the Quebec government. Is this what is expected of an ambassador under the Trudeau government? Were these tweets authorized by someone at Global Affairs? We don't know. I filed an order paper question on this, but they remain unanswered after 2 years. Oh yeah, we're supposed to change the rules so that Senator Gold is obligated to answer our questions. Obviously, our well-paid ambassador is anything but a diplomat, and the Trudeau government would like to have us forget about this. Now, speaking of Liberal insiders, I am eager to see if former Minister Caroline Bennett will get extra pay for her post in Copenhagen. Then there is the case of Dominique Barton. The former CEO of McKinsey was dispatched to the Beijing embassy after Justin Trudeau fired John McKellen. At McKinsey, Barton preached the necessity for Canada to get closer to Russia and China. And we can all see the foolishness of that. He is the last political appointment to China. Trudeau now realizing that even though he admires their basic dictatorship, the Chinese do not reciprocate the admiration for little potato. Barton is also believed to be the architect of the Liberal open-door immigration policy and of the infrastructure bank, two of the many disastrous policies of this government. The exact role of Mr. Barton in the shady dealings at McKinsey while he was there is still unknown. This is the firm who advised Trudeau Pharma in their strategy to get thousands and thousands of people hooked on OxyContin, and has now agreed to pay close to $1 billion in settlements over this. To trust the CEO of this organization represents at best a serious lack of moral compass on the part of Justin Trudeau. Another overpaid Liberal and good friend of Justin Trudeau, David McNaughton, was the first and only ambassador that was investigated and found guilty by the Ethics Commissioner in Canadian history. Wow. Speaking of the Ethics Commissioner, following the resignation of Mario Dion, the Liberal government decided to appoint Martin Richard, Dominique LeBlanc's sister-in-law, to replace him. They didn't see anything wrong there until the public uproar forced Ms. Richard to step down. Again, to quote Andrew Coyne, they are literally incapable of conceiving of themselves doing wrong. Appointing your sister-in-law cannot be nepotism when you are a Liberal. Not my words, Andrew Coyne's. After Ms. Richard left, Justin Trudeau left the position open for 6 months. He then appointed a career bureaucrat as interim commissioner, and after another additional 6 months made this guy permanent. Obviously, the Liberals do not take the position seriously. The fact that the Liberal government is by far and out the worst offender ever in terms of ethics probably explains why it is not interested in appointing someone who is not connected to them and who will do that work seriously. Speaking of agents of Parliament, you will remember the Trudeau government decision in 2017 to nominate Madeleine Millier as Official Languages Commissioner, only to see the former Liberal Ontario MPP withdraw her candidacy when it came to light that she had discussed this position with key members of the Prime Minister's office. But worse than just bad appointments, the Trudeau government clearly has an agenda of starving the different officers of Parliament by not giving them enough resources to do their job. The Liberals are making sure the extent of their incompetence and corruption is not known by the public. As the Auditor General herself, Karen Hogan, said, when you're dependent on getting funding from an organization that you audit, then it has an ability to impact your independence. The Trudeau government has even tried to undermine the credibility of the Parliamentary Budget Officer when he found out that the government policies on the environment are not worth the cost. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault attacked the PBO while Gerald Butts called him incompetent and accused him of doing real damage to the policy discussion in Canada. Liberals only respect the referee when he doesn't call their penalties.
Paris quand le Premier ministre, on est...
To answer, we are certainly focused on making the government work for Canadians. That's exactly what people expect, and that's what we are going to keep doing.
Laurence, s'il vous plaît.
Est-ce que les députés qui ont signé la lettre sont des peureux, comme ils n'en parlent pas publiquement?
Ben écoutez, de ce que je sache, personne n'a vu cette lettre et peu de députés en ont parlé, alors on verra si cette lettre... Job, c'est de beaucoup plus que le député.
Est-ce que ça avance les discussions parce que...
de la laïcité. Parce que c'est la... Mais c'est pas ouvert.
I don't know any numbers.
Does the number matter as much as the expression of a large group of people within the caucus?
Well, I think they have to express themselves to his face, like I've said, and not do it sort of in hushed tones. And
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de leur démarche? Est-ce que ça... How does he come back to lead a united caucus if that many...
Well, I think what you'll see is that the vast majority of caucus and cabinet, the entirety of cabinet is behind him.
Qu'est-ce que la démarche, la façon de faire, c'est secret, que les gens ils veulent pas parler publiquement. Ce genre de
que le système d'éducation publique doit se faire en toute laïcité. La provenance, l'origine des gens qui sont là.
Worked her entire career into public service media. She knows the reality of CBC Radio-Canada, having worked there for almost 30 years. She is currently the CEO for TV5 Québec Canada, which is another public service media. And I'm really happy about this nomination. And for me, this is the first piece of a broader work that we need to achieve to ensure the sustainability and the future of CBC Radio-Canada.
Est-ce que vous êtes satisfaite du travail de Mme Tate?
Ben, Mme Tate a relevé des défis importants dans un moment où...
On ne connaît pas leur nom, ils veulent pas...
I don't think it's a perspective that's shared by the vast majority of caucus, but it's an important, thing for us to talk about, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it tomorrow.
Do you think he could be on the same team even when he's saying, I don't want the same leader? Is he on part of the Liberal team if he's trying to oust the leader you currently support?
Sure he is. I mean, at the end of the day, when you have a leadership race, you have multiple candidates. The winning candidate needs to get 50% plus one. Does that mean that they actually don't have the support of 49% and that they actually should, At the end of the day, we will have a robust debate. We will come out, with in my view, support for the Prime Minister to move forward with the election.
If dozens of MPs are signing a letter telling the Prime Minister to step down, how can you survive that?
Well, as I say, the Liberal Party is a big tent. We have robust conversations, as we will in caucus. We're not a bunch of robots like Mr. Poilievre's axe the tax, build the homes, ride the donkeys that you see in question period. And it's important to have debates. At this point in time, clearly in the public opinion polls, we are not leading. There is concern on the part of members of caucus. It's important we have that conversation.
Est-ce que vous avez vu la lettre?
Non, non.
Mais qu'est-ce que vous pensez de la démarche de vos collègues, de ces collègues-là?
C'est quelque chose d'assez important.
Support this Prime Minister unequivocally.
Do you think he'll stay on then after tomorrow?
I have no idea. I would think so. He says that he is staying. He says he's not going anywhere. But again, I leave that up to him. What I will tell you is that he has my support. Thank you so much.
Do you think that the people who want Mr. Trudeau to leave should be more vocal, like just put their face in front of the camera and say, this is us and this is what we want to do? Do you think it's cowardly what they're doing? Ms. Hutchings, do you
I
support the
wouldn't
Prime
call
Minister?
it cowardly.
Yes,
no.
I do.
Cowardly is a big word to use. I wouldn't call it cowardly. But as I said, different people have different opinions. I respect various opinions, but I'm here to give you mine, and that is that I unequivocally support this Prime Minister.
Do you think
Thanks
you can
so
win
much.
the next election with him at the top?
Absolutely.
La prorogation, est-ce que vous écartez toujours la possibilité de proroger?
She's so gross. Karina Gould is disgusting. She just is.
Pouvez-vous faire le point sur des négociations avec le Bloc québécois?
Écarter, ça veut dire quoi?
Ben, ça veut dire que vous dites non à la
Ah
fois.
oui.
OK, donc c'est toujours non.
with the charter requirements of the government. The Conservatives are pursuing, their own political partisan vendetta, and as we've heard from expert after expert, including the law clerk yesterday, who raised the fact that he shared the concerns raised by the RCMP and the Auditor General by what the Conservatives are doing right now. So, we will continue to stand up for the rights of Canadians, respect due process of the police, and ensure that this, place remains one where democracy is upheld despite what the Conservatives are doing.
De façon rationnelle, que c'est pratiquement impossible que le gouvernement Trudeau respecte le soi-disant ultimatum du Bloc québécois à ce point-ci.
Nous continuons les discussions avec toutes les parties, incluant le Bloc québécois.
So you're not going to give over the documents? You'll let Parliament be in nothing mode until the end of the year?
Can we ask you about child welfare?
Yes, I'd love to talk about child welfare. Let's talk about something real.
Do you think that this deal could have been done differently? Waiving settlement privileges, First Nations could have been more informed along the way. What could have been done better in this case?
We've been negotiating, we actually started the final settlement agreement almost 3 years ago. There was an agreement in principle, and then all of the parties resumed the negotiations over the last 2.5 years. 2 of the 3 litigants, as you know, are really disappointed with the outcome of the vote, and the AFN was, as you could see by the results, divided in terms of how to proceed. Obviously, I've been reviewing their deliberations about how to proceed, and they're talking about the ways that AFN needs to strengthen its approach to make sure that all voices from all regions are heard. Certainly that's important work for them, and I know the National Chief is listening very closely. And on my side, I'm currently sort of just analyzing next steps for the government, but I want everybody to know that we remain committed to making sure that child and family services reform continues.
Given what you've heard at the AFN, how will that inform your next steps approach to this?
Well, I mean, there were 3 litigants, the AFN, Caring Society, the AFN, the Anishinaabe Nation, and the Chiefs of Ontario. And so, it's important that all parties work together with full comprehension of what their members would like. And so, as you know, Anishinaabe Nation and the Chiefs of Ontario fairly loudly endorsed the agreement. AFN did not. So it's really important that AFN has a clear message coming back to the government about how they want to proceed as well. We'll be waiting to hear from them, but also looking at every option that we can to make sure that we can continue forward.
And now another caucus letter. How are you feeling heading into that caucus meeting?
Fine. I'm fine. Listen, this is just part.
Is there the lack of courage from the MPs who signed this letter but are not saying publicly their names?
I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate about the courage of my colleagues. I think that a healthy caucus has difficult conversations. That's how decisions are made in this country. Whether we're debating in the House of Commons or talking about it in caucus, this is part of governing. This is part of being a country. So I'm comfortable with difficult conversations, or else I wouldn't be doing this 9 years later. That's just part of politics. As a matter of fact, my son once said, in politics, basically every conversation is difficult after about a week on the doors. And so that's the nature.
Continue as leader. He's got 20 to 40 MPs.
That is a decision for the Prime Minister, but I can tell you that I can't do this kind of work without the confidence of the Prime Minister committed to reconciliation. Thank you very much.
Was Trudeau's leadership discussed in that meeting?
It was a good discussion, but it's a cabinet meeting, so confidential. A very good discussion, very positive. On a eu une très bonne discussion, c'est tout positif. Merci. Merci.
I think it's important that we focus on Canadians. I think it's important that we focus on what matters for people on their day-to-day lives.
Is there a plan to deal with it tomorrow?
There's an absolute plan to have important discussions, and that's what we should be having.
What kind of message does the Prime Minister give to you today?
He is leading us into the next election to lead Canadians, and I am proud to be by his side. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna, tell us what's the plan to deal with the caucus vote tomorrow?
not aware of a caucus report. We are going to have an important conversation with our people today. We just had a really productive discussion about some of the concerns that we have heard from our colleagues, and I think tomorrow will be a really good opportunity for a conversation.
You don't want to call it a revolt then, but there are 20 to 40 MPs who are expressing non-confidence. So how are you going to?
Tanya, I have not seen a letter, and I've not heard that directly. Tomorrow we're going to have an important conversation.
Forget about a letter. If you have that many MPs concerned about the Prime Minister's...
Look, cabinet ministers are all going to come out saying they're loyal to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody, but the interesting thing, Rosie, just to pick up on it, was the urgent focus to try to get back to PIERRE POILIEVRE, who they've talked about as a threat to the country. Chrystia Freeland trying to talk about the Bank of Canada interest rate cut, which would have been the top story today had this not been happening. And, talking about inflation coming down. We saw that from the cabinet minister saying, let's get it together, make the changes we need, and let's go get the Conservative leader. Yeah, I'm guessing that these words were circled, maybe even tattooed onto the bodies of the people we've seen. Robust, united, yes, and healthy conversations happen behind closed doors, which is it's a lovely way for them to all come out of the meeting. I think we will do some journalism to see what actually happened in the meeting, although someone just texted me back, we were repeatedly told to not say anything to all of you. So we'll see how we can elicit information from what happened. But putting that aside, there's, in my mind, that this is an okay outcome for Justin Trudeau right now. Anyway, we'll see what happened at the mic, and we'll see what happens next. But if you're going to spend 3.5 hours, almost 3.5 hours in a caucus room with people questioning whether you should keep your job, to have most of the people go on camera and say okay things is probably what you want. I'm not saying this is over. I don't know. I think we have to talk more. Yep. And we need to talk to some of the people who spoke against him at the mic. We're told there were 4 or 5 of them, and we need to talk more to some of the people who signed the letter about what they heard. Regardless, I think that there is a next steps moment for the Prime Minister. It's one thing to go up the stairs and say we're united and strong. It's another thing to demonstrate that to your team and show how you're going to maintain that sentiment over time. So those would be, I guess, my questions about going forward. But we haven't yet seen today someone come out and say, this was a terrible meeting. I'm even more angry than I was before, and he's got to go. Let's see if by the end of the day that changes. But I would say that this initial 20 minutes of outs is not terrible. Right, and I have asked to see if Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, if we will hear from him beyond everything's fine. It's undecided. Okay. We'll let you know when we know. We are going to hand the network back to our colleagues because I've got a show in 3.5 hours, and I do want a bit of a break. Ehren, final thoughts from you on what we've heard so far in the immediate moments after this caucus meeting.
Yeah, just a bunch of robust, healthy conversations. Yeah, look, I think being united around the idea that PIERRE POILIEVRE shouldn't be Prime Minister is sort of a bare minimum requirement at this point for the Liberal caucus. So I don't know that tells us much. I think I guess on the bright side for the Prime Minister, 24 MPs didn't walk out into the hall and announce that they were all publicly calling on the Prime Minister to resign and they were leaving caucus. So I guess in that respect, it doesn't look too terrible for the Prime Minister. But I suppose my first question would be, what's the message he left to caucus? Yes. Did he say, I'm going to take this away and think about it? Did he say, great talk, guys, but I'm still the leader, and that's the way it's going to be, but I'll show you how, how I'm going to leave this party forward? And then what about these 24 MPs? Are they content to have expressed themselves, or do they have a next move? It's really hard to know exactly, where this stands based on, the simple idea that, well, they're happy they had this frank conversation and they're united in their desire to stop PIERRE POILIEVRE. That doesn't tell us much. And I think the next few hours will tell us more.
Yeah, body language is a lot of it can be voodoo in my view, but question period today will be quite interesting to see how caucus, how boisterous they are. Kate, quick final thoughts from you up there in the maelstrom, because I know you're going to be working on this quite a bit from this point on.
Well, David, as you were saying, a lot of us have been talking to other MPs in the days leading up to this to see, I was asking people, what would signal to you that something bigger is coming? And they indicated to me, a few people I spoke with, that there would have to be some sort of probably outward sign of unhappiness, like perhaps a group of these 24 MPs going to the mic in the foyer and saying, you know, we signed this letter because we think it's time for the Prime Minister to step down or something like that. Obviously, so far, we're not seeing anything like that. It hasn't been taken outside of caucus. As you guys have said, you know, we'll be watching in the coming hours to see if people continue to text journalists and share their unhappiness anonymously. And to your point, and to Rosie and Catherine and Ehren's point, we have been hearing from people for weeks now, if not months. In your case, it sounds like years, at least a year, that there's some unhappiness within caucus. But you know, we're not hearing that so far from the people who've left. A lot of them, the same people we've been hearing from now for the last couple of days. We're looking at cabinet ministers, Minister Champagne, Minister Duclos, some of the same voices we've been hearing. So we'll definitely be looking for some of those backbench voices, which may be some of the people who are behind this letter.
No, I am texting with people now, trying to find out what happened in there, and I have the 3 little dots at the bottom of the message and no response.
Again, what's up, just Ehren right here, Canadian Money.
As we get ready
I
to hand it back
live
to our
in an
colleagues in
amazing
Toronto,
part
your
of
final thoughts
our
on
country.
That chaos we saw
In general,
that emerged from
I
caucus.
kind of
I
feel
thought it was
like
a really nice experience for the
life
audience.
maybe owes me something, which it doesn't. But anyhow, I'm just trying to get to know my audience a little more. I live in this most amazing place in the country, and we're going for a walk. Like, gonna show you what it's like where I live. So, and just to chat, I started this channel like about a year ago, and it's doing pretty well. We focus on Canadian federal politics here. We have an amazing community that's growing. It's really strange. I've become friends with so many people that, again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in over my head. I've got a great support crew. I've got Captain Kirk and Miss Sheila, Mr. Pickles, Dimebag Coins. Check out Dimebag's Coins channel. And then so many other people that hang out with us every day. Like, again, we're just walking down to the waterfront. I want to show you this amazing place that I live in. It's so friggin' pretty here, and people are kind. People, I think, are kind because of how pretty it is here. Like, I think it affects people. The state of Canadian politics is really rotten. When I started doing the channel, I came in blind. I didn't even know what side I was on, hadn't voted in a while, like, but it took maybe 3 or 4 like question periods, and I was like, oh my God, these people are lying right to their faces. And I'm not a big fan of like Canadians being duped. I've got a bit of that naivete that we all have, like that Canada is a better nation than that. Depends on the government, right? Anyways, guys, we're getting into some, we're down the waterfront now. Gonna walk out on one of the fingers here and give you a real good look at how pretty this place is that I live. Did you see that house that I walked out of? That's where I live. I own that house. No mortgage. I got lucky on a house deal there a couple of months ago and bought the house I grew up in. And now I do this. Okay, well, there's not many boats moored right now because, well, it's October, so they all have them brought ashore. Well, mostly. See where we're going? Did you see? I don't know what kind of job this camera's doing for us right now. But we're out here. Now we're out here. See this? It's pretty friggin' amazing where I am. Like, look at this. Here we are. And then I'm gonna go and do our show here in a little while about Canadian federal politics. Like, what did we get ourselves into when I was going to start a YouTube channel? And I still might do this. I wanted to do like movie and television reviews. I used to watch a lot of that stuff. Now all I watch is politics. But for years and years, I thought about a gaming channel. But once I started doing the Canadian federal politics and seeing what is going on, like they're trying to dupe us. I'm not down with that. I'm not gonna. And they do fool my mom, so I take that personally. But it's such a weird time. So, again, I'm not sure what kind of a job we're doing here. But look at this place, man. So, do I feel spoiled to be here? I had a lot of bad years when I was in the city. I worked for a corporation that it was a disaster. I was there for 17 years. Not one of them was enjoyable. Terrible, terrible company. A lot of good employees at the company, just that it's corrupt. It's a big corporation. They sell booze here in Nova Scotia, and they're dirty, rotten. Well, we'll go for a little bit more of a walk just to show you where it is, because I do feel blessed to be here, and the people here are so nice. Like, I don't know how rural it is, a place you live in. This village has about 500 people, and when I was growing up, it was always a very poor area. It was one of the poorest areas in the country, actually. And then they got lucky. The municipality got a deal cut with the Sable Project, where they made some money and they invested it right back in the community. My old man, before he jumped, was a municipal councilor. Growing up, he was like elementary school principal, school administrator. Anyhow, this little community is super cool. We do have a bank here. Look at a Royal Bank. Where's that? That's our bank. They used to say back in the day it had a lot of money because it was so rural. I don't know. People don't talk about that stuff anymore. Anyways, like some of the infrastructure in a little remote community like this, we have sidewalks. Look at how far that sidewalk goes all the way up past my place. Like, it's so gorgeous down there on the waterfront. I think we're gonna walk back down. Anyhow, you guys let me know what you think about these walk-arounds, because I could do these a lot. I need to prepare for them because like today I just started walking and talking. But if I have an idea of what I'm going to talk about, I can fill the time. I've been watching so much of this Canadian federal politic game And it's so dirty. Like, the stakes are so high, the scandals are so corrupt. Like, it's a very strange time. It's hard to believe, like, that it's happening in Canada. Like, the other day I said to my mom, I'm like, I think Justin Trudeau is like a terrorist. And she blushed. Like, she gets her news from like CBC, CTV, whatever. I ask her to watch my channel, but I get it. Politics is boring, right? Like, if you're not aware of how dangerously corrupt our current government is, then you wouldn't know. You'd just be like, politics is boring, it doesn't matter. It matters so much. Like, now, because there are so many people looking away, because it's hard to look at. It is frustrating to watch. Have these MPs come into your house during question period and lie to your face. Super frustrating. Yeah, we're gonna walk out on the other finger. That there is, that's the little island. I think that's Little Island. And we've got Big Island too, it's on the other side. Jeff Jameson and I used to spend hours out here. Man, it was a great spot to go to hide and troll mackerel and have some beers. Like, when we were kids, right? Like 17 or 18 years old. Mackerel fishing is some of the most entertaining fun I've ever had. Like, you get like 6 mackerel on a line and they're all swimming in the same direction. It's a battle right there. Pretty fun. But like I say, when I was a kid, they used to dump the sewage right into the harbor here. It's been about 30 years, I think, since they've cleaned that up. And the harbor did recover very quickly. It's a weird thing, nature. Climate change. Look at the calendar, seasons change. So yeah, we're out here on the other finger now. We've even got some grass growing on the dock. Anyhow, that's it. Sorry, a little bit of a breeze, so that's gonna mess up our audio. But let's take a 360. Look at that. Let's frame that up. It's not my boat. Hey guys, this is my boat. Since I started doing YouTube, the money's been rolling in. About that, YouTube ain't bad. Like, people always say, like, you gotta go X, or gotta go Rumble, or something like that. If you steer between the lines, you can pull off YouTube. I get demonetized all the time for shit, but when that does not happen, which is most of the time, it's not lucrative, but you can do okay on here. I think I'm gonna survive this leaving my government job. People say I'm crazy for doing that. Not if you hate it. Not if those people, like, realized what kind of contempt you have for the way they run a company. Yeah. Not gonna get too heavy into that. It is on my mind today, though. It is on my mind today. Anyways, that's a quick tour of my lower village. I think we're gonna walk back to the house, go right in, and maybe not even take a look at this, just play it. I do love my chat room, and the people that watch my channel all the time, it is more than appreciated. Like, we've got a good thing going on here. There's no doubt, like, that we have a connection, and we are patriots. We're looking for change for each other, for our futures. Like, I don't have kids, but if I did, I'd be worried for them. Yeah, so this is Lower Main Street. Right there to my left is Upper Main Street. What's up? Is that Willie? Yeah. Sorry, I'm recording for my show, whatever. My name's Ehren McDonald. You know me.
I remember your face, but I don't remember what name.
Miles and Donna McDonald's son?
Oh my. How you doing?
Good, Ben. No.
Oh, he's been down visiting?
No, I bought the house.
You bought the house?
Yeah.
That's you. Oh, okay. How's your mom doing? Any better?
She's not going to recover. She's doing good though. Like,
she's in the apartment up there.
Yep. She's real sick. But anyhow, Willie. So I'm up there, 53 Main. Drop in.
Good to see you.
No, like, we grew up playing road hockey and all that shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been back home?
Oh, see, I took, 10 years.
10 years or so?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Well, I've been home 3 months.
I couldn't stay away. I wanted to come home. Yeah.
No, this is a beautiful place, man. Like, I do a YouTube channel, and I'm just kind of showing for my audience, like what I walked in on the fingers down there. Yeah. It's gorgeous. Yeah, I thought that was you. Somebody told me that it was you walking around, so I got close and I was like, "Hey, Willie, what's up?"
It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. How's your sister?
Good. Lori's awesome.
Where's she at?
Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she married a guy from here, down from St. Mary's.
Yeah.
They were married for like 20 years. They just recently are splitting up, but she's great. They've got 3 kids.
Oh,
they're
great.
like, I think the youngest is 16.
Oh, really?
So they're all grown up.
Yeah.
And
She comes
Lori went back to school.
Oh, yeah.
So
She
she's
comes to visit you, does she?
yeah, she was here this summer.
Okay, yeah.
She was down this summer. She looks good. My sister's a real stud.
Yeah, played road hockey. That's what all we did all the time.
That's all we did all the time before the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, we got lots of exercise back then.
Oh, no, big time. I see you walking all the time. I wasn't sure if it was you, but then good to see you, man. I'm up there in the red house.
Yeah.
Drop up.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Check out my channel. Do you ever go online?
Sometimes.
Canadian Looney.
Okay.
That's the name of my channel.
All right.
Check it out. Just to give it's Canadian federal politics. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're having fun.
All right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Take care.
How fun is that? Pretty friggin' fun. That's Willie Scott, man. I haven't seen Willie Scott in 40 years. 40 years. Guaranteed. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, we're just gonna head back home. And I don't think I'm even gonna watch this video. I think I'm just gonna play it. It is breezy right now, so I'm not sure how this phone does with the wind. It's not wind, it's a light breeze. Anyways, Willie Scott, good to see you. And he smelled good too. Those sweaters came right out of the laundry. It's awesome. Good to see you, man. I think I am gonna like living back here. It's taken a little while. I had whatever. My old man took a jump there a couple years ago, almost as the anniversary coming up, and screwed up the whole community. And a lot of people still are uncomfortable, like, to talk to or whatever, because they feel like they need to say something. They don't. My dad was a community leader here. They've named buildings after him, like, already. The theater here is called the Miles McDonald Theater. Like, well-respected man. He was my best buddy, and it was, I think everybody else thought it was a total surprise. I knew he wasn't doing well, and he had always done well, but at the end, life gets to you. And maybe COVID was a big impact, like, people got shut down. He lost his hearing. It's tough. Anyways, I do miss my buddy. He'd be very happy with what we're doing here on the channel. He wouldn't agree with anything that I'm saying, other than the idea of doing it. So, again, he'd support my idea of doing it. He wouldn't agree with many of the things that I think and say. Let's get in here. Shut this down. Anyhow, gang, that's our walk in Guysborough. We got to see Willie. That was pretty fun. We're out. We're just gonna play this.
Yeah, yeah, it looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. They said, I bet they'll never make it. But just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I love, the only one that I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. Ain't nothing better. We beat the odds together. I'm glad we didn't listen. Oh, look at what we would be missing. They said, I bet they'll never make it. But just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I love, the only one that I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. You're still the one. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I love, the only one that kiss goodnight. I'm so glad we made it. Oh, look how far we've come, my baby.
If government officials funneled $400 million of your tax money into their own pockets, you would have heard about it by now, right?
He has $1 billion fund whose own bureaucrats say reminds them of the sponsorship scandal, whose executives give money to their own companies.
But you probably haven't, because when Liberals are in power, the Parliamentary Press Gallery doesn't like to highlight Liberal corruption.
There's been explosive testimony by a whistleblower on this Prime Minister's $1 billion green slush fund that's seen $150 million misappropriated and gone to Liberal insiders.
Liberal appointees to a board that got to make decisions as to which companies got grants worth millions of dollars of taxpayers' money gave those grants to their own companies. A scandal like this should be the lead item on the news day after day. There should be banner headlines on front pages every time there's a new development. There should be shadowy figures in parking garages smoking cigarettes, handing out documents to hardworking investigative reporters.
I can't tell you who I am, but I worked on the campaign.
But none of that is really happening. Instead, the Parliamentary Press Gallery is focusing on all different kinds of issues where they can try to distract Canadians from the real essence of the scandal.
It's the headline everywhere. Prince Charles, before he was king, shrieking at seeing shrink wrap, or plastic wrap as we call it, for the first time.
So instead of letting the mainstream media confuse and distract, let's get right into the essence of this scandal.
The findings that were the findings used to suspend SDTC were known to the federal government all the way back in May of 2023.
There's a fund called Sustainable Development Technology Canada, and it's supposed to give grants to companies who have legitimate, innovative ideas to improve Canada's environmental record. Now, SDTC is a huge organization funded by the government to the tune of $1 billion in tax money. The Liberals appointed their friends to the board. That board gets to decide who gets the cash. And what did they do when those Liberal insiders sat around the table? They started handing out money to their own companies. $400 million of your money went not to improve environmental outcomes, but to line the pockets of Liberal insiders. $334 million over 186 cases to projects in which board members held a conflict of interest. That means they benefited from the decision, and they were the ones who made the decision. $58 million to 10 projects that weren't even eligible and couldn't even demonstrate any environmental benefit at all or any development of green technology. The Ethics Commissioner found that the chair of this board, this Liberal appointee, broke the law when she funneled money into her own company. After 9 years, the Trudeau Liberals aren't even trying to be creative in their corruption. There was a giant pile of money, which is why we call it a slush fund. And the Liberals on the board that got to make the decision as to who got the money gave it to themselves. This is so blatant, it got caught the first time the fund was audited. If this storyline were part of a movie or a television series, it probably would get rejected due to lazy and bad writing. How do we know this? It's because a brave whistleblower testified at committee and blew the lid wide open on this gross corruption scandal. Here's what the whistleblower said. It should never have taken 2 years for the issues to reach this point, and what should have been a straightforward process turned into a bureaucratic nightmare that allowed SDTC to continue wasting millions of dollars and abusing countless employees over the last year. Now, if you were in government, you might think, well, hey, let's hold the lawbreakers to account. Let's let the truth come out, and let's let the RCMP charge those who knowingly stuff their own pockets with your cash. But instead, what are the Liberals doing? They're fighting this tooth and nail. They're actually paralyzing Parliament to keep these documents hidden. Here's what that same whistleblower said about criminal activity.
I think the Auditor General's investigation was more of a cursory review. I don't think the goal and mandate of the Auditor General's office to actually look into criminality, so I'm not surprised by the fact that they haven't found anything criminal, because they're not looking at intent. So if their investigation was focused on intent, of course they would find the criminality.
And do you believe that the RCMP doesn't have authority to investigate in this matter?
No, I definitely believe they have authority.
That's why we need the RCMP to have all the documents, so they can see who knew what and when, who was directing people to make those decisions, and who got rich off of your tax money. So the Conservatives passed a parliamentary order to produce all the documents, have the government send all the evidence to the RCMP, and the Liberals refused. So the Speaker ruled that Parliament can't debate anything else until it deals with this corruption scandal. If they're willing to pay the political price for seizing up Parliament, grinding it to a halt, the only conclusion possible is that there must be something so bad in these documents, evidence so damning, that they are willing to pay the political price for grinding Parliament to a halt and cancelling part of the parliamentary session. But Conservatives aren't going to let them run away from the scandal. We're going to continue to fight on behalf of you, the taxpayers. We want the lawbreakers held to account, and we want to get your money back. Once again, thanks for watching.
A day after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's ministers voiced confidence in him, he could face a different sentiment at a caucus meeting today. Some disgruntled MPs are expected to voice their displeasure at the PM and ask for him to step down at their national caucus meeting. Dozens of MPs have reportedly signed an internal document calling for Trudeau to resign. Meanwhile, his cabinet was backing him 100% yesterday.
The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the leader of the Liberal Party. And the Prime Minister is going to lead the Liberal Party in the next election. That's very simple.
Now, Trudeau says he's not worried about an internal revolt and he is instead focusing on his government's priorities.
Well, the voters in New Brunswick have chosen change and made some history in the process. Liberal leader Susan Holt will be the first ever female premier of the province.
I want to thank every voter, every person who came out and exercised their right to vote and participate to keep our democracy strong. Thank you to everyone who voted, and a special thank you to everyone who voted for Team Holt and our amazing candidates that we elected tonight.
There she is, Premier Designate Susan Holt at her victory party last night. Her party won a majority in the election, sweeping into power with 31 of New Brunswick's 49 seats. The outgoing premier, the Progressives Conservative leader Blaine Higgs, offered his congratulations to Holt in a concession speech last night.
It's certainly not the night we'd hoped for. Nevertheless, it is what it is. So the people of New Brunswick have spoken, and I have called and congratulated Susan Holt and her team on their victory. Susan, you've earned the trust of the people, and I wish her here every success as she takes on the challenges that lie ahead.
Higgs lost his seat in the Legislative Assembly last night as well. Liberal Ehren Kennedy won the St. John area riding of Quispamsis by a margin of just 193 votes. Higgs did not announce his resignation outright, but he told CBC News it was...
I think our leader, Trudeau, I don't think I've ever heard him say a true word.
Oh, hello. Do you have a warrant to be here?
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
As firm as you might, it is really hard to put lipstick on a pig.
When I'm Prime Minister, I will keep my promises.
WTF.
Here.
I know this place is where I am. No other place is better. No matter where I go, I am proud to be Canadian. I am, you know I am.
The one we call Canadian.
Beam me up, Captain.
Gentlemen, beam me aboard.
The percentage
A day after
of
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's
folks
ministers
has even
voiced confidence
increased by 10% since 2020. It's what makes the work of incredible organizations centering reconciliation in their justice system all the more vital, including the healing of the 7 generations, whose bail, release, and supervision program helps folks break generational trauma and prevent recidivism, as well as community justice initiatives, whose STRIDE program helps incarcerated folks heal and build the community connections that help them be successful after release. My deep thanks to Donna, Kate, and their entire teams for the impact they're having.
The honourable member from Nepean. Mr. Speaker, 2 weeks back I could safely participate in a Hindu event in Edmonton only with the protection of RCMP officers, as a group of Khalistani protesters staged a disruptive demonstration against me. In Canada, we have long recognized and experienced the serious problem of Khalistani extremism. Let me be clear, the sanctity of Canadian sovereignty is sacrosanct, and any interference by foreign state actors within Canada in any form is unacceptable. Khalistani violent extremism is a Canadian problem, and RCMP has said the National Task Force is focused on investigating it. We know that extremism and terrorism don't recognize and are not limited to national borders. I call on our law enforcement agencies to take this issue with all the seriousness it demands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de Montmagny, Lillet, Kamouraska, Rivière-du-Loup.
Mr. Speaker, this week is Small and Medium Business Week in Canada. I'm an entrepreneur and very proud of the fact. Proud because I dedicated my life to doing what I like doing the most, which is paying it forward. Entrepreneurs volunteer their time and energies to help one another. One of our entrepreneurs is a person that helped create wealth, jobs, and community infrastructure by paying it forward and creating a better community around them. I salute the hard work of all these small business people who day after day work hard in a constantly changing world with in businesses with fewer than 50 workers like mine. These businesses contribute to innovation and to all small businesses. Happy Small Business Week.
Mississauga, East Cooksville.
Mr. Speaker, I was heartbroken to hear that a dear friend and community member, Mario Nunes, passed away. For over 20 years, Mario was not just a friend, but a radiant example of joy, hard work, steadfast dedication to his family, friends, and our community. Mario was a devoted husband to Lisa, a loving father to Melissa, and a cherished grandfather to Daniel.
Mario left behind a remarkable legacy in the masonry industry. When it came to getting a job done right, everyone turned to Mario for his unmatched professionalism. Mario's passion and commitment were a source of inspiration to all of us. He was always ready to lend a hand, share a kind word, whether it was capturing moments at Luso charity events, discussing ways to improve the lives of people with disabilities. Mario's spirit will forever remain in the hearts that he touched, and he will profoundly be missed. Rest in peace, my dear friend. Thank you.
L'honorable député de Lac-Saint-Jean.
The honourable member for Lac-Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, on this day, October 23rd, a leading figure in regional agriculture is stepping down from his post. After 8 years as president of the UPA in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, Mario Théberge, a dairy and grain farmer from Normandin, well known and respected by his peers, will leave his place to the next generation who are already ready to follow in his footsteps. Involved in farm unionism for over 30 years, Mario Théberge was elected regional president of the UPA in 2016. The time has come for him to go on his way and pass the torch. One thing's for sure, Mario will be remembered as a team player, a farmer who was deeply involved in his community, always ready to take on a challenge, a president who gave us confidence in the agricultural future of our beautiful region. It's with great pride and a sense of duty accomplished as he bids farewell to his colleagues and hands over the keys to the tractor today. Mario, good luck in your future endeavors, and we look forward to seeing you soon. But above all, thank you for everything.
L'honorable député de...
The honourable member for Saint-Léonard Saint-Michel. Mr. Speaker, I was honoured to attend the historic inauguration of Amazon Web Services' brand new Espace Voir Grand at the La Salle Centre in Saint-Michel. This space, which is a first in Canada and a world first in a French-speaking community, will provide our students, teachers, and community members unparalleled access to educational resources related to science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math.
Amazon Web Services and the Centre La Sallienne, new opportunities through this space will act as an incubator of innovation and will help create researchers and inventors of tomorrow.
I'm extremely proud that Canada's very first Espace Voir Grand is opening its doors in my riding of Saint-Léonard Saint-Michel, and I can't wait to see all that will be accomplished there.
The honourable member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the extraordinary achievement of Canadian Para-Olympian Joanne Wong, who proudly brought home a bronze medal from the 2024 Paris Paralympics. As a dedicated and resilient athlete, Joanne has become a symbol of strength and perseverance, both on and off the court. Joanne has inspired countless Canadians with her determination and dedication to sitting volleyball. Last Sunday, she was awarded the key to the city of Pembroke. Her remarkable achievement is not just a testament to her personal drive, but also a shining example of the power of sportsmanship. Joanne's victory in Paris is a victory for all Canadians who believe in pushing boundaries and celebrating excellence. We congratulate her for representing our country with such distinction and thank her for inspiring a new generation of athletes. Please join me in celebrating Joanne Wong and her teammates' accomplishments. Thank you. Joanne.
The honourable member for Ottawa-Vanier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's with deep sadness that I rise today to pay tribute to Ethel Cote, who passed away on October 16th after a battle with cancer. Her family paid tribute to her, saying that her unwavering commitment to training, listening, supporting, and above all, inspiring everyone she met left an indelible mark on the lives she touched. A pioneer of the social economy and innovation, she founded many organizations, including Mécènes, and contributed to the training and development of nearly 1,000 community organizations. Founding CEO of La Nouvelle Scène and associate professor at the University of French Ontario, she was recognized for her cooperative and innovative approach and her commitment to a more just and caring society. Designated a UN champion of women's economic empowerment in 2015, she was also awarded the Order of Canada, the Order of Ontario, and the Order of the Pléiade and a Sapphire Award in 2015. A beloved mother and grandmother, she leaves a huge void in the Franco-Ontarian community and far beyond. My sincere condolences to her family and loved ones. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député d'Outremont.
The honourable member for Outremont.
This morning, the Bank of Canada cut interest rates by 50 basis points, bringing interest rates down to just 3.75%, Mr. Speaker. That's good news for hardworking Canadians. It's going to help families who need to renew their mortgage. It's going to help young people wanting to go out and buy their first home. It's going to give some breathing room to folks who have debts and loans to repay, making things just a bit easier for them. Lower interest rates, it's good news for Canadian entrepreneurs, for businesses of all sizes, whether they have loans or they don't. And I must say, during Small Business Week, no less, it's great news for our small businesses. Now, I'm not saying that everything is perfect here. I know there are Canadians struggling with affordability. I know that there are global economic instability forces at play, but I also know that there is no better place to be than Canada right now.
That's right.
No better place than Canada. And today, things were made just a little bit easier and a little bit better for the good folks living here.
Hear, hear. The honourable member from Barrie Springwater, Oro Medonte.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After 9 years of this Prime Minister, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up. Time is up. Just this week, Barrie Police arrested a repeat offender in possession of stolen goods only hours after being released on bail. In the past 2 weeks alone, this one offender has been charged with theft 6 times. M. Gao, a Barrie resident, recently wrote into Barrie Today to state that they have lived in Barrie since 1967 and no longer feel safe in our community. They do not feel safe going downtown by themselves anymore, especially after dark. This Prime Minister's catch-and-release bail policies have unleashed a wave of violent crime across the country. This Prime Minister boasts about banning the hunting rifles of law-abiding Canadians instead of targeting the gangsters and gun smugglers that are terrorizing our streets. The Toronto Police Association recently fact-checked the Prime Minister and pointed out that shootings are up 45% and gun-related homicides are up 62% in Toronto. Canadians deserve a common-sense Conservative government that will stop the crime and bring home safe streets.
The honourable member from Brampton North.
Today I stand before you with a profound sense of urgency and concern regarding the alarming revelations about foreign interference in our country. The RCMP's statement regarding the investigation into violent criminal activities linked to the Government of India has brought light to a harsh reality that Sikh Canadians have long feared. As a Member of Parliament representing a vibrant community of people from Sikh and Hindu backgrounds, I recognize the deep ties that bind Canada and India. Yet the chilling evidence presented by the RCMP reveals a betrayal of our shared values. It's unacceptable that foreign agents would operate with impunity on our soil, terrorizing communities and threatening our safety. We have seen extortion, arson, threats, and even loss of life, instilling fear in the South Asian community with the particular targeting of Sikh Canadians. This is unacceptable. Every Canadian deserves to live with safety, free from intimidation and violence, regardless of their beliefs or heritage. Our government has taken significant steps to confront these threats, but we must also stand united as a community, Sikhs and Hindus alike. We cannot allow fear to divide us. We must support one another and advocate for justice, accountability, and the protection of our rights.
The honourable member from Niagara Falls.
Speaker, after 9 years of this NDP Liberal coalition, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Speaker, you have ruled this government has violated a House order to turn over evidence to the RCMP into their latest $400 million green slush fund scandal. The NDP Liberal government's refusal to respect your ruling has paralyzed Parliament, pushing aside all other work to address the doubling of housing costs, food inflation, and the crime and chaos that we see in our streets due to their policies. While Liberal appointees at the SDTC were enriching themselves and their companies with nearly $400 million of Canadians' hard-earned tax dollars, 1 in 7 people in my community of Niagara Falls were visiting our food bank, Project Share, simply to get by. Will the NDP Liberals end their cover-up and provide the order documents to the police so Canadians can have the accountability they so rightly deserve?
Hear, hear. The honourable member from Kenora.
Taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government. Carbon taxes are driving up the cost of all essentials, including gas, groceries, and home heating. Now, according to an article from the Salvation Army, the food bank in Kenora is challenged just to keep stock on their shelves with rising demand, plus food costs that are making it difficult for people to be able to afford to make donations, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the food bank has been forced to reduce the number of visits per month for each guest. And this will only get worse if this costly coalition quadruples the carbon tax, which will cost Ontario families $1,400 per year in carbon tax alone. Plus, the Parliamentary Budget Officer has once again confirmed that Canadians pay more in the tax than they are getting back in rebates. Mr. Speaker, we know that this government and this carbon tax is not worth the cost, and Canadians want to know when they will have a chance for a carbon tax election so they can vote to axe the tax and bring home lower prices.
Yeah.
The honourable member from Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. Speaker, the recent announcement by the RCMP that agents of the Indian government are involved in serious criminal activity in Canada is deeply troubling. Such actions represent a clear violation of Canada's sovereignty and an attack on the safety of all Canadians, particularly those in the Sikh and South Asian community. We must stand united in condemning these actions in the strongest possible terms. Canada's sovereignty is non-negotiable, and we will not tolerate foreign interference or intimidation. I would like to thank the RCMP and all law enforcement agencies for their tireless efforts in uncovering these serious threats and taking decisive action to protect our communities. The safety of all Canadians, regardless of their heritage or political beliefs, must always be protected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Nanaimo, Ladysmith.
Mr. Speaker, unhoused women, girls, and gender-diverse people who are unhoused are invisible in our country. Being without a home or being precariously housed can look different for women. Many find temporary shelter in their cars or on a friend's couch. To make matters worse, as the cost of living increases, more people are left out in the cold. To help, we need vital, person-centered, wraparound services and housing. In Nanaimo, Ladysmith, Island Crisis Care Society provides these vital supports. I'm so grateful for the incredible work they do, but they cannot do it alone. Life-saving supports are needed. Instead, we've seen federal cuts. The Reaching Home program was slashed a devastating 60% in Nanaimo this year. Many in our communities are doing all they can, but they need support. It is time to see the necessary federal investment and leadership now. Thank you, Mr.
Hear, hear.
Speaker.
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to offer the Bloc Québécois full solidarity to Marwa Rizki, member of the National Assembly for Saint Laurent. Ms. Rizki has had to seek police protection for her family. She's been the target of threats since she brought to light the Islamic excesses at Bedford School and the mistreatment of children. In particular, she's been targeted by Adil Sharkawi, an imam who would already be facing charges for previous hate speech were it not for the religious exception that is still in the criminal code. This House must understand there are consequences to letting people like him continue to spread their hate far and wide. We strongly condemn any intimidation of Ms. Rizki, as we do of all elected officials. Ms. Rizki, thank you for your unwavering commitment to children. Thank you for standing up for secularism and equality between men and women, between our sons and daughters. You deserve a safe and respectful end to your term of office before finally being able to devote yourself entirely to your family.
The honourable member from Dufferin-Caledon.
Gun crime up is 116%. The carbon tax will be up to 61 cents a litre. Groceries are up 45% since 2015. And after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, even Liberal MPs agree taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time's up for this unpopular Liberal Prime Minister. And apparently they confronted this Liberal Prime Minister this morning. But there was one small small hitch. They had to get written approval to speak to the Prime Minister. Talk about freedom of speech. While these Liberals are busy fighting amongst themselves, Conservatives are focused on what's important to Canadians. Axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. As Conservatives, we don't agree with virtually anything that they have done. They are destroying Canada. But what's become increasingly clear is a whole bunch of Liberal MPs agree with us. This Liberal Prime Minister isn't worth the cost, isn't worth the corruption, and it's time to go.
The honourable member from Mississauga East. Sorry. My apologies. Brampton East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 4 out of the 5 leaders represented in this very chamber have either received their security clearance or are in the process of receiving their security clearance. There's only one party leader in this chamber that chooses to close his eyes and remain oblivious to foreign interference and continues to refuse to get a security clearance, and that is the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. The Conservative leader across the way is hiding something. The question is, what is he hiding, and what exactly is stopping him from getting his clearance at a time when we are facing serious foreign interference in communities across Canada? Yesterday, a motion was presented in this House that calls for all party leaders to take necessary actions to protect Canadians from foreign interference, calls for all federal party leaders to get their appropriate security clearance in the next 30 days. And guess what, Mr. Speaker? Conservative members said no to this. When will the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada wake up, get his clearance, and start standing with Canadians against foreign interference?
Questions orales, oral questions.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Thank you. Thank you for your support, everyone. Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of this Prime Minister, more costs, crime, corruption, and now more chaos, with 24 Liberal members of Parliament who want the Prime Minister to step down, even when the Bloc wants to keep this PM in power. Even if Liberals don't have trust in this PM, will they trigger an election so we can repair what he has broken? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
What is up with this applause?
Mr. Speaker.
Come on.
The Liberal team, just like the Liberal government.
What? Greg Fergus has something to add.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I want to thank all members of this House for their rousing show of confidence. I have to say, the Liberal Party, as is the Liberal government, totally united on holding the Conservative Party to account for the fact that they want to cut programs, cut services, cut initiatives that will help Canadians grow the economy, keep inflation down, and make sure there's a strong, prosperous future for all Canadians. That's what we're focused on. While Conservatives focus on petty politics, we'll stay focused on delivering for Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. That was a question in French, by the way, Mr. Speaker. 24 Liberal members recognize that this Prime Minister is not worth the cost, the crime, the corruption, and now the chaos. Finally, today, they needed to muzzle half of these members at the caucus, forcing some of them to go to the bathroom to send text messages to the journalists telling them what's going on at the caucus. The Liberal members know what Canadians have already knew, that the Prime Minister is not worth the cost, the crime, and the corruption. When will the elections be? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives are concerned with division and personal attacks, we're focused on the fact that we have to deliver for Canadians, deliver dental care for seniors, deliver more daycare spots, deliver investments in a greener economy and creating jobs for the future. The Conservatives are offering austerity and cuts. That's not what Canadians need. We need a government to be here to invest in their future, and that's exactly what we're doing, because confident governments invest in their citizens, and that's exactly why our economy is improving so much.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of this Prime Minister, costs are high. Housing costs have doubled. The national debt has doubled. Housing costs are out of control, and the Parliament is paralyzed with corruption that the Prime Minister is trying to hide from Canadians. And now there are at least 24 Liberal members of Parliament who are saying that the Prime Minister needs to resign. In addition, immigration is out of control. He cannot fix what he's broken while he's facing a rebellion. Can he trigger an election right now? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, all Canadians clearly see that the Conservative leader is only offering cuts and austerity and empty slogans. They need solutions, and that's why we're putting forth solutions for dental care, investments in a green economy, investments to attract worldwide companies in fintech through electric vehicles, AI, and quantitative technology. We're going to be here to invest in the future of this company and focused on the future, while the Conservatives just want to bring us back to the Stone Age.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, costs up, taxes up, crimes up, and according to 24 Liberal MPs, time is up. This Prime Minister has doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, given us the worst economy in the G7. He's paralyzed Parliament with a cover-up of corruption, and 2 million people are lined up at food banks, but he cannot fix what he broke because his caucus is revolting. Will he call a carbon tax election today?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, while the Leader of the Opposition is focused on politics, we're focused on delivering for Canadians the things that matter most, whether it's more money in their pockets with the Canada Carbon Rebate, more places at $10 a day childcare right across the country, dental care for seniors and more Canadians of all ages as we move forward to deliver things that are easing pressures on the pocketbooks and building a strong economy for everyone. This is the work that we're doing, that we will continue to do. While the Leader of the Opposition tosses around empty slogans and plays politics, we'll stay focused on the things that matter to Canadians.
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
24 Liberal MPs went to his caucus today to tell him that he's not worth the crime, cost, or corruption. They wanted to tell him that he's doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, sent 2 million people to the food banks, but he wouldn't let them. He silenced half of the dissidents. In fact, some were intimidated so much so that even Rosemary Barton, the Prime Minister's favorite journalist, said people don't have phones in the room and some people are going to the bathroom texting us. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister text those dissident Liberal MPs, tell them to come out of the bathroom and tell the whole world that he's not worth the cost?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, in our caucus, people have always been free to speak their mind and have different perspectives. What is interesting, Mr. Speaker, is nobody in the Conservative caucus seems to have spoken out when one of their members got an all-expenses-paid trip to an extreme anti-abortion church in Florida. Nobody spoke out. Well, one of the members on their front bench went and dined with white nationalists, far-right German nationalists, and nobody spoke up and is continuing to speak up when their leader refuses to get a security clearance so he can deal with foreign interference.
The chair is, knowing that today is Wednesday, has been relatively tolerant of a lot of calls from both sides of the House. I'm going to ask members, please not take the floor until they are addressed by the Speaker, to do that so that we can hear the questions, we can hear the answers.
The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, I think that it is more honourable to leave all the Liberal troubles to them. But I'll talk about another phenomena: intimidation, corporal punishment, and lack of confidence in science. Is the PM concerned that the situation at Bedford School in Montreal, because of religious intransigence, is concerning? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Bloc leader knows full well that on this side of the House we respect provincial jurisdiction with respect to education, but we're always going to be here to defend freedom of expression and to defend fundamental freedoms that all Canadians have rights to. And these are freedoms that ensure that we are a free, democratic, and open country with values that are always on the forefront. The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, I understand that the Prime Minister has his thoughts somewhere else, but is he saying that forced religious education in a school and corporal punishment are freedom of expression of professors?
No.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. No, Mr. Speaker, that's not at all what I've said. I have underscored that administration of schools is under provincial jurisdiction, and we expect the province to take care of its jurisdiction, but we're always going to defend fundamental freedoms of all Canadians, and that includes children who have a right to be educated in a way that reflects our values as Canadians and Quebecers.
The honourable member from Burnaby South.
I recognize that the Prime Minister is distracted, but there's a recent survey that's come out that shows that over half of Canadians are having a hard time with the cost of groceries. Now, too many in this chamber are more worried about themselves than kids going to sleep hungry in our country. Why has this Prime Minister refused to take action on painful food prices?
Hear, hear, hear. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have taken action and will take more action. We move forward on increasing competition rules so that the Competition Bureau can go after people who are and companies that are gouging Canadians, at the same time as we're delivering more supports, whether it's with the National School Food Program that's putting more money in the pockets of families by giving them breaks on their groceries so kids can actually eat healthy foods at schools, or delivering a Canada carbon rebate. Unfortunately, that Canada carbon rebate that puts more money in families' pockets has just seen the NDP pull their support from it, even though it's helping Canadians with affordability, and we will continue to be there to fight climate change.
The honourable member for Burnaby South.
Have you ever been to a grocery store?
People are losing hope.
Order.
Order, please.
Alors, s'il vous plaît.
I'll invite the honourable member from Burnaby South to start from the top, and let me just encourage the honourable member and all honourable members to make sure that your questions and comments are directed through the chair. The honourable member from Burnaby South.
Has the Prime Minister actually ever been to a grocery store?
People are losing hope. The Angus Reid study shows that over 40% of renters have given up on the dream of owning their own home. The Conservatives cut housing construction in Canada and let 800,000 affordable housing units disappear. The Liberals had 9 years. Why hasn't the Prime Minister repaired that damage? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Both questions the Leader of the NDP had. I've actually been to a grocery store with you, Mr. Speaker, in your riding a few years ago in Hull Elmer. And I've been to many grocery stores since.
In terms of housing, Mr. Speaker, we have created a program to invest in housing, affordable housing across our country, with more than $900 million for Quebec, and we continue to invest to ensure affordable housing. While the Conservative Party is just offering cuts in housing programs, we're going to continue to invest to help Canadians with affordable housing. I'd like to assure all members that, yes, the flame market is in my right. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister liked to go grocery shopping together, Mr. Speaker. And if you had, you would know that, of course, food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than they did in the United States during the last 4 years, and that gap grew in line with the carbon tax. The Leader of the NDP apparently likes to shop at Metro, for which his brother's company is the chief lobbyist. So maybe the Leader of the NDP can tell us. 24 Liberal MPs have lost confidence in the Prime Minister. Will the Leader of the NDP finally vote for a carbon tax election?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there wasn't a question for the government in that, but let me reiterate that multiple analysts, economists, and the Parliamentary Budget Officer have indicated that lowering inflation has made it easier on Canadians, and the price on pollution that delivers the Canada carbon rebate to Canadians right across the country and puts more money in their pockets is actually helping Canadians with affordability. But if the Leader of the Opposition really wanted to help with affordability, he wouldn't have voted against dental care. He wouldn't have voted against a national school food program that's saving hundreds of dollars a year to parents right across the country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, even Liberal MPs know now, because their constituents keep telling them, that the carbon tax is driving up the cost of food. They wanted to go to caucus today and tell the Prime Minister that Canadians are literally starving, some eating out of dumpsters, because of the carbon tax. But he sent out his immigration minister to attack them, saying that they are, quote, garbage. What's garbage is the Prime Minister's record doubling housing costs, driving up food prices, and forcing people to eat out of dumpsters. Will he stop treating his own MPs and Canadians like garbage?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I think the Leader of the Conservative Party shouldn't be bragging that none of his MPs have asked him to get a security clearance so that he can actually protect his party from foreign interference. That none of his MPs have spoken out. That having one of their members go down to Florida on an all-expenses-paid trip by an extreme anti-abortion church is just fine for all of their MPs. And that, quite frankly, none of them have any issue with a member on their front bench dining with a neo-Nazi. Mr. Speaker, I would hope some of his members in his caucus would speak up about some of the problems.
And I ask the Honourable Member from Wellington Halton Hills to please not speak out of turn repeatedly during this question. He's an honourable and very well-respected member. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister, who has a lifelong record of racist outbursts, is now coming unglued on the floor of the House of Commons. The question was about the 24 Liberal MPs in his caucus that are trying to speak out against his quadrupling of the carbon tax, not because they care about the cost of living of their constituents, but because they're worried they're going to lose the election. So if the Prime Minister is so confident in quadrupling the carbon tax, why won't he call a carbon tax election now?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our price on pollution not only decreases emissions and helps fight climate change, but it grows the economy and investments, and it puts more money in the pockets of middle-class Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, what we've seen from the Parliamentary Budget Officer is that Canada Carbon Rebate puts more money back in the pockets of Canadian families than it costs them in the federal price on pollution. And that is exactly what the Leader of the Opposition wants to cut. He wants to cut affordability for Canadians. He wants to cut the fight against climate change. That's not how you build a strong future.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Taxes and housing costs. Now, on that subject, the Prime Minister created a $4 billion so-called housing accelerator that gave hundreds of millions of dollars to big city politicians across the country. Toronto got the money, and construction went down 20%. Winnipeg got the money, construction went down 15%. Vancouver got the money, construction went down 19%. Ottawa got the money, construction went down 10%. Mr. Speaker, when I was the housing minister, we built 194,000 homes. Why won't he follow my common sense example?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The member opposite was Stephen Harper's failed housing minister. He built 6 affordable housing units across the country. So we'll take no lessons from them on housing. They would rather pick fights rather than invest in the kinds of changes that are improving density and zoning, using public lands, accelerating red tape so that people can get more affordable housing built quicker right across the country. It takes actions and investments to build up this country. That's exactly what we're doing in responsible ways. All he's offering is fights with the provinces and municipalities and cuts to services Canadians rely on.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he just accidentally told the truth. He said he's accelerating red tape. Well, he sure is doing that, but he's not accelerating his math lessons. He's always admitted that he's been bad with numbers. I have the documents from Stats Canada's website, that's part of his government, that shows that in 2015, there were 461,000 housing completions, and the average rent was only $973 for a one-bedroom, half of what it is today. Given that I delivered so many affordable homes, why won't the Prime Minister follow my common sense plan to build the homes, not the bureaucracy?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it says something about the level of confidence the previous Prime Minister had in that member when Stephen Harper used to say the federal government has no responsibility around housing and then asks him to be their housing minister. That's perhaps why he delivered only 6 affordable homes over the course of their years in government. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, we have stepped up to invest in densification, in cutting red tape, in creating more housing starts right across the country, working with municipalities and provinces to solve this housing crisis, while all he offers is cuts and breaks to wealthy landlords.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is this Liberal Prime Minister that said a year ago that the federal government has no responsibility for housing. Right. Of course, he said that after he had completed the doubling of housing costs. And then, speaking of housing ministers, he went on to point the guy who had lost track of 1 million people coming into the country, who had allowed a 300% increase in population growth against the warnings about housing from his own department. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister plans to reverse and swallow himself whole on immigration. Will he complete the job by firing his housing minister?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have continued to step up and invest in housing by working with provinces and municipalities right across the country, because of course we know that actions of previous governments of Conservative and Liberal stripes underinvested for many years in housing, which is why we're in the situation we're in, a situation not dissimilar to many advanced democracies around the world. That is exactly why we have stepped up to put money on the table for municipalities as they change their densification rules and zoning laws to accelerate the process.
He's investing, guys. He's just investing in you. He believes in you and lining his pockets.
Of building housing and continue to solve this housing crisis that Canadians are facing from coast to coast to coast.
That's right. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Sorry, I thought we had one other before me. The Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, given the facts that were announced, does he not recognize Ottawa is trying to demolish Quebec's efforts with respect to its values and secularism? It's encouraging division, and it's even more concerning in schools. There's a desire to finance the challenge of Bill 21 on secularism at the Supreme Court, and it is a divisive and serious intrusion. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we are a government that will always defends the fundamental rights of Canadians, and it's a principle that guides us as a party and also as a country. Yes, we are very concerned by the issue of children who are experiencing suffering that is unacceptable in schools, and that is why we expect the Quebec government to look at this. At the same time, we are always going to defend fundamental freedoms of all Canadians. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. This ambiguity is very concerning, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister should clearly confirm that regardless of the causes that seem to be justifying this violent and oppressive behavior, an indoctrination of children at schools, it should be condemned. And the attitude of this government, his multiculturalist obsession and a desire to challenge our secularism laws and other institutions that encourage this, is an important danger. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, I'll even be clearer. In terms of these children at this school, this is absolutely unacceptable. But using exceptional cases like this to attack Quebec's diversity and attack the various cultures that unite our country is also unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. We're always going to defend cultural diversity. We'll always defend well-being at home while we defend the rights and liberties of children every time. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister is admitting that his immigration policies have been totally incompetent. In fact, the ratio of new people to new homes reached its highest level in recorded history last year after his then immigration minister, now housing minister, ignored the warnings of his own department. According to a new Concordia University report, the rent is expected to rise to $7,500 in Vancouver and $5,500 in Toronto if the trajectory continues. Will he reverse course now?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, one of the great advantages of Canada in the world, of Canadians in the world, is that we continue to be a country that understands that immigration is a source of opportunity and growth and richness for this country. One of the other great advantages we have is we have an immigration system that is able to adjust to different realities. In the years after the pandemic, there was a need for more temporary workers, there was a desire for more international students, and we let more in, working with the provinces and businesses across the country. As we see the situation shift, as the labor market shifts, we're making changes to the immigration system so that we can keep its support.
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, there's nothing compassionate about it. Inviting people without a place for them to live or health care for them to have or jobs that provide them with paychecks. He has destroyed our immigration system through his own personal incompetence and destroyed a 150-year common sense consensus between Liberals and Conservatives on that subject. He cannot fix what he broke on immigration, housing, or anything else because he's busy fighting his own caucus. Why won't he call a carbon tax election so that we can restore Canada's promise, where anyone who comes here and works hard can have a good life, a safe street, and a warm home?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the work we are focused on is on the middle class and people working hard to join it, and we have delivered over these past years. And in these times of global strife and pressures, that is exactly what we are doubling down on investing in building homes, investing in strengthening our immigration system so that it can match the challenges we're in right now, in moving forward on putting more money in people's pockets, even as we create strong jobs and growth for the future. The Bank of Canada just really reduced interest rates because inflation is now down to low inflation once again. We are managing this country responsibly. We're continuing to invest in its future.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, Canada makes every single one of us a promise. If you work hard, you get a good life. That promise, like everything else after 9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, is broken. Now, he's broken countless promises, but this one is different. This wasn't his promise to break. It belonged to all of us. Now that he has destroyed the immigration, the housing market, the cost of living, will he call a carbon tax election so that we can bring home Canada's promise?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, we see the Leader of the Opposition pushing a brokenist vision of Canada that is simply not aligned with the reality. Yes, Canadians are struggling like people are all around the world after years of high inflation and disrupted supply chains and global conflicts has weighed heavily on everyone around the world. But Canadians continue to see opportunities. Canadians continue to see investments by a government that believes in them, whether it's investing in green jobs of the future or investing in programs and supports like dental and childcare that make a difference that the Conservatives continue to vote against.
That's right.
The Honourable Member for Burnaby South. Or do we have? You have any no? Excuse me, I apologize to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, brokenist. It's not even a word. He's even breaking the English language. Oh my goodness. So he broke the housing market by doubling the costs. He broke the cost of food by jacking up the carbon tax and increasing prices 36% faster than in the United States. He's broken our immigration system. He's breaking the bank with his doubling of the debt. Even his own caucus members think that everything is broken. Why don't we have a carbon tax election to decide?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
While the Leader of the Opposition is focused on exploiting the struggles of Canadians that are very real, he's not offering a single solution to support them. He's offering to take away the Canada carbon rebate that is putting more money in their pockets and fighting climate change successfully while it grows the economy. He's offering to cancel the dental care program that has helped close to 1 million Canadians already access dental care. He's planning on canceling the child care that has brought child care costs down to $10 a day in so many parts of the country and created spaces everywhere. He stands against the programs and supports for Canadians, while at the same time he says Canada's broken.
That's right.
The Honourable Member from Burnaby South.
The global community is shocked. This week, Israeli Minister Ben-Gvir called for Gaza to be emptied of Palestinians. He also called for expanding illegal settlements in Gaza. In fact, his colleague, Minister Smotrich, said that starving civilians is justified, shameful. Enough is enough. What will it take for the Prime Minister to impose severe sanctions on Netanyahu and his extremist ministers?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the violence in the Middle East needs to end. It cannot continue to see civilians killed, innocents wiped out, communities destroyed. We need to make sure there is a ceasefire in Gaza and in Lebanon. We need to see the path once again towards a two-state solution where a peaceful Israel lives alongside a peaceful Palestinian state. That is Canada's position. That continues to be what we fight for every single day, to bring a global consensus together, to protect lives, to get humanitarian aid in, to release hostages, and to end this conflict once and for all.
I'm going to ask, again, all members, including the member from Hamilton Centre, not to speak out when he does not have the floor. The honourable member from Edmonton Strathcona.
That was an appalling answer, and the Prime Minister needs to sanction Ben-Gvir and Netanyahu.
Hear, hear.
Mr. Speaker, 650,000 Albertans don't have a family doctor. In Edmonton, hospital wards are 155% overstocked. But instead of addressing this crisis, Danielle Smith and the Alberta Conservatives are going to Uberize the problem. So enough is enough. Can you tell us, when will Albertans be able to deserve the health care? When will this government finally stand up for public health care in this country?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely that Conservative governments across this country have weakened our public health care system, and that is why we are continuing to demand investments in public health care, investments that will create more family doctors, that will reduce wait times. We've put money on the table for provinces willing to step up and actually deliver clear data and results to Canadians. We're going to continue to defend Canada's public health care system from those conservative ideologues and premiers and politicians who want to weaken our healthcare system and not deliver for Canadians.
That's right.
L'honorable député de London West.
Mr. Speaker, my constituents have been working hard to pay their bills as global inflation has driven up the cost of living. The Conservative Party hates it when Canada is actually succeeding, and they continue to gaslight Canadians into thinking that our country is broken. Even though our government has been providing relief to Canadians through dental care, $10 a day child care, free diabetes medication, and much more. Can the Prime Minister update all Canadians today's good news and set the record straight?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the member for London West for her question and for her hard work. Today, the Bank of Canada announced a big cut to interest rates by half a point, bringing interest rates down to 3.75%. Canada was the first G7 country to cut rates and is now the first to do so for a fourth time. All the Conservative leader has is his little performances because he knows that our responsible economic plan is working.
Right. L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Après 9 ans de ce Premier ministre.
After 9 years of this Liberal government, the cost of housing in Quebec has skyrocketed. In the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region, the cost of a house has gone up by 76%. In Trois-Rivières, the cost has gone up by $190,000. And in Drummondville, the cost has gone up by $204,000. That's an increase of 124%. Meanwhile, what has the Prime Minister done? He has broken our system. He has printed billions and billions of dollars, and he's preventing new constructions. Will he do something about these policies? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is using these challenges that are facing Quebecers and all Canadians to feed his own political career, but he's not offering any solution to the problem. That's why we have invested $900 million with the government of Quebec to speed up housing construction. We will continue to work with municipalities and the province of Quebec to ensure that there is more housing, rentals, homes, affordable housing. We will continue to work hard while he picks fights with the mayors of Quebec City and Montreal. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. I have already published my common sense plan, which is to offer incentives to municipalities to issue permits, cut red tape, free up lots for construction, and to cut taxes for those who are building housing throughout the country, while also controlling population growth so that it's under the growth in housing supply. That is my common sense plan. Will the Prime Minister let Quebecers choose that common sense plan with an election? The Honourable Prime Minister, we all know that the Leader of the Opposition doesn't care about expert opinion, and it's pretty obvious why. All housing and economic experts have looked at his plan and have said very openly that it is gobbledygook. There is nothing in his plan that will do anything about the housing crisis. Once again, he has just offered empty slogans, not real solutions. Quebecers, like all Canadians, deserve a government that will continue to invest in housing, to invest in their future, instead of simply offering cuts and austerity, which is all that the Conservative leader knows. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Well, the real experts here are people who build housing. Quebec's Builders Association have stated that my plan is the best to get housing built. It will encourage construction. It will encourage municipalities to cut red tape. And on the other hand, we see the results of 9 years of this Liberal government, where the cost of housing has gone up more sharply than in any other G7 country. And it's the second worst in the 36 OECD countries. Will the Prime Minister finally adopt a common sense plan like ours? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this Conservative leader's approach has been to make personal attacks against the mayors of Montreal and Quebec City, insult the intelligence of Quebecers who have elected progressive municipal governments who are investing in affordable housing, who are investing in a better future. He is simply running around insulting people, trying to score political points. We work hard every day in partnership with municipalities and provinces to deliver concrete results. Housing, economic growth, results for everyone. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Canada had to issue an emergency rate cut to salvage a collapsing economy, an economy that has fallen more in the last 5 years than any other G7 country. Our GDP per capita is smaller today than it was a decade ago, while the American has grown by 18%. The gap between the Canada and U.S. per person GDP is now at its worst in a century, leading to homelessness, helplessness, and hunger on the streets. Why won't the Prime Minister call a carbon tax election so that we can fix the economy he broke?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Every now and then, Mr. Speaker, despite all his efforts, we see a little edge of the tinfoil hat peeking out once again from the Leader of the Opposition as he continues his attacks on the Bank of Canada, on the independence of our financial institutions. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, we have worked hard as a government to bring down inflation so that the Bank of Canada can bring down interest rates faster than just about any other country of our peer countries around the world, because we know that bringing down interest rates is what's going to help Canadians, even as we continue to invest in programs like dental and pharmacare and childcare that the Conservatives are voting against and delivering for Canadians.
L'honorable député de Belleuil-Chambly.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has said that the Bedford school case is a mere isolated anecdote, but it's been going on for 7 years. It's very well documented that there are cases of harassment, bullying, religious indoctrination. Does the Prime Minister know that 3 other schools may be involved? And does he know that some parents are withdrawing their children from schools because they are worried? They are worried about religious indoctrination and children being discouraged from obeying Quebec law. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, as a former teacher, I can vouch for the fact that it is essential to protect our children, to protect the values that we care about. For example, freedom. I am very concerned about the reports mentioned by the leader of the Bloc Québécois. And we all expect that the competent authorities, in this case the province, will quickly address the issue to protect children under their care. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, when Adil Sharkawi gets involved in a situation, we know that someone responsible needs to take over. Even though the Prime Minister is pretending to show respect for provincial jurisdiction, well, much good may it do him. Here we see that there has been federal intervention against our secularism legislation, which involves interfering with Quebec jurisdiction. The Bloc Québécois has stated that it should be impossible to spread hate speech on religious grounds. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we know that the government of Quebec needs to take up its responsibility in the area of education and protect kids. It needs to ensure that all fundamental freedoms are protected. That's what Quebecers and all Canadians expect as well from the federal government. And that is why we are taking action to protect basic freedoms while also expecting Quebec to do its job to protect children in its schools.
The opposition.
After 9 years, this NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the human misery that Canadians are suffering. There are now 1,400 homeless encampments in Ontario alone. The City of Toronto admits that it's run out of homeless shelter space and will have to turn people out into the snow throughout the forthcoming winter. There's a Facebook group called the Dumpster Diving Network, and people are lined up in the rain for hours for rotten potatoes. Is this the Great Depression?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've all seen the cozy relationship that the Leader of the Opposition has with a number of Conservative premiers across the country. I would ask him to use his significant influence over those Conservative premiers to ask them to accept the money that the federal government is putting on the table to help with homeless encampments. A month ago, we asked each province and territory to partner with us to help find shelter for those living in encampments. Alberta, Ontario, and Saskatchewan have not yet formally responded to us to end encampments in their respective jurisdictions. I ask the Leader of the Opposition, if he cares about this indeed, to stop playing politics and start up.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The problem with that blame game is that, in fact, the worst homeless encampments are in NDP-governed British Columbia. In fact, what the Prime Minister has done is take the radical socialist policies that led to those encampments and those massive overdose crises nationwide. Take, for example, the drug dens. The Prime Minister continues to push taxpayer-funded opioids on the population, which has led to 47,000 overdose deaths, more than died in the Second World War as Canadians. Will he reverse these policies?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I just have to pause for a moment on the incredible irony of watching the Leader of the Opposition in this House accuse anyone of playing the blame game. He has made his entire career as leader and 20 years as a parliamentarian about playing the blame game. It's about time he started taking responsibility for the members of his caucus and take responsibility for putting forward solutions that will actually help Canadians instead of offering cuts and pointing fingers.
FJT.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The NDP Liberal government is acting like, quote, a drug lord. Those are the words of Masha Krupp, a mother who lost her daughter to an overdose. That daughter, Larissa, was given taxpayer-funded opioids. Now her son is addicted to the same government-provided drugs. This radical policy, which this Prime Minister pioneered and expanded with the help of the NDP, has taken thousands of lives. Will he stop acting like, quote, a drug lord and put the money into treatment and recovery?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're using all the tools at our disposal to save lives and keep communities safe for everyone. Meanwhile, Conservatives are choosing to use struggling people as political props to promote fear and spread misinformation. From the very beginning, we've been there to work on an evidence-based, compassionate and public safety approach. We have and always will be there to work with provinces and territories on approaches focused on saving lives and ending this crisis.
L'honorable député de Laval-Les-Îles.
The Honourable Member for Laval-Les-Îles. Mr. Speaker, the fight against foreign interference is a priority for our government and for Canadians. Canadians deserve leaders who will take all necessary measures to protect them. However, the Conservative leader is simply finding excuses to avoid his responsibilities. He is refusing to get his security clearance. Can the Prime Minister explain why it's important that the Conservative leader step up by getting his top secret clearance?
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Je remercie le député de Laval.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister, I'd like to thank the member for this important question. It's a question that many Canadians are wondering about, and in fact, many Conservative MPs even are asking themselves this question. The Leader of the Opposition is trying to score points on the matter of foreign interference, and yet he is refusing to get his security clearance at a time when more than ever, all party leaders should take these threats seriously. He is not showing serious leadership. Canadians deserve better. What does the Conservative leader have to hide? Why does he not get his security clearance?
Order. I'm going to ask all members not to take the floor unless recognized by the Speaker. I've asked the honourable member from Wellington Halton Hills, who's a very respected member in this House, please not take the floor. Not take the floor. Unless recognized by the...
Fuck you, Greg Ferguson. Sit down and shut the fuck up. Sick of this motherfucker.
That goes both ways. The honourable member, the honourable Leader of the Opposition.
For 9 years, this NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the cost, crime, or corruption. We now know that his deficit this year will be $7 billion, or 20% bigger than his finance minister claimed in the budget only 6 months ago. Where's the money going? Well, we know that $400 million was directed by Liberal appointees to their own companies in what involved 186 conflicts of interest. Now the Prime Minister has paralyzed Parliament for 2 weeks to cover it up and deny police the evidence. Will he hand it over to the cops so that we can put the bad guys in jail and get our money back?
Before I invite the Right Honourable Prime Minister to respond, I'm going to ask the Honourable Member from Timmins James Bay to please not take the floor unless recognized by the Speaker. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we just heard very impassioned and understandable outbursts from the member for Wellington Halton Hills, who is concerned about foreign interference and the impact. What is something that worries me is that he can't have confidence that his leader, the leader of the Conservative Party, is actually going to do the work to take foreign interference seriously and get the security clearance necessary to be able to protect the members of his caucus from foreign interference. Why is the leader of the Conservative Party not getting a security clearance?
If you watch as much as I do, I watch it a lot. And if you can take, like, Greg Fergus lying to your face, doing what he does, this guy is a corrupt guy. He's dirty as hell. I watch a lot of this stuff, guys. Like, and I am fed up. Because they're lying to you. They lie to my mom. Like, and they just think they can get away with it. They won't be able to get away with it. Like, I have no idea what kind of, honestly.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Because this Prime Minister will not gag me the way he's gagging his 24... He's turned our country into a playground for foreign interference. He's unleashed crime, chaos on our streets, and corruption inside our government. My question, which he's erratically trying to avoid, is why does he keep covering up the criminal evidence in a $400 million green slush fund scandal? Why?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is about to get up one more time in this House to say some words. I recommend that at this point he choose those words to apply to explaining to Canadians why he will not get the necessary security clearance from our national intelligence agencies to be able to protect not just his party and their institutions and their members, but all Canadians. Any leader who wants to take national security seriously should be able to listen to the information that CSIS wants to share them instead of covering his ears and going la 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 like.
Order. Order. The Honourable Member from Wellington Halton Hills.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you the briefing the Leader of the Opposition will take. He'll take the same kind of briefing the Washington Post got on classified information from the National Security and Intelligence Advisor and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. He'll take the same briefing that I got under Section 12.1 of the CSIS Act, threat reduction measures to reduce threats to the security of Canada. He'll take the same classified briefing that the Prime Minister has been all too willing to give to this House when it suits him, such as the classified information he revealed about Mr. Najjar's killing a year ago and other classified information revealed in the last several weeks about India. That's the kind of briefing the Leader of the Opposition will take.
I don't mean to get all wound up or bent out of shape, but these guys are pissing me off. They're lying right to our faces. Think it like watch this. it's going to be egregious. Like, Greg Fergus is going to condescend to you now on how you should behave. Michael Chong just asked a very relevant question. It's heated. I get that. I understand being heated. Watch all this shit. And they lie straight to your... They think there's not going to be a consequence. I'd like to see one of these motherfuckers at the grocery store, because they just keep lying to our faces and thinking that it's okay. They send people to get their groceries and shit. They're rich like that. I don't care about rich or poor or black or white or gender specificity or whatever. Just don't touch me. But these guys try to reach out and touch us every day, and they lie to us. I'm sorry about the swearing, but I am fed up. I'll cut that back, but I've got to express to you, I am extremely frustrated with my federal government. I wouldn't be so against an assassination.
Order!
Like, kill some of these motherfuckers. Let them know.
Order!
That there are rules to be followed. God damn.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
Lakelands, the Honourable Member from Lakelands.
What about the Minister of Labour?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we just saw an excellent example of the partisan lengths Conservatives will go to try and cover up for the fact that their leader refuses to take national security questions seriously. He has repeatedly refused offers by our national security agencies to give him the necessary clearances to be able to see the scope and breadth of threats to Canadians through foreign interference. He pretends to take issues of national security seriously, but it's only for partisan purposes, not for protecting Canadians. Shame on...
Order! L'honorable député de Lachine-LaSalle.
The Honourable Member for Dorval, Lachine-LaSalle.
Mr. Speaker, the public inquiry into foreign interference has made clear that every member of this House has a responsibility to fight against foreign interference in Canada. This is especially true of party leaders. It is imperative that all leaders be equipped with the necessary security clearances and information so that they can make responsible decisions to protect our precious democracy. The Conservative leader refuses to do so. Can the Prime Minister shed light on why it is important to get such clearance? Thank you.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I thank the member for Dorval, Lachine-LaSalle. Canadians should be alarmed by the Conservative leader choosing to ignore risks to his own party and to our country. And his excuses have all been dismissed by nonpartisan national security experts. So if he has nothing to hide, what is he afraid of? Why won't he get his security clearances? Let me put these in terms that I think the Leader of the Opposition might actually understand. He needs to get the clearance, take the briefing, and protect the country.
The honourable member from Vancouver, Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, the U.S. government has fined TD Bank over $3 billion after they pled guilty to money laundering charges. Wow. This case raises serious questions about federal oversight of Canadian banks and undermines our global reputation. Working Canadians have to play by the rules, but when banking executives put profits above the law, this government looks the other way. Exactly. What have the Liberals done to address the repeated criminal actions of TD Bank?
Yeah.
Good question.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
We are, of course, very concerned by the actions of TD Bank in the United States. We make sure every single day that banks in Canada behave by following all the rules. We have continued to strengthen financial oversight, and we're making sure that there is full accountability for those responsible for this wrongdoing in the United States.
Hear, hear.
L'honorable député de Richmond.
The honourable member for Richmond North Athabasca. Mr. Speaker, I have a simple question that just requires a little bit of political action. When someone goes to Tim Hortons and buys half a dozen donuts, they don't have to pay for taxes. But if they instead buy 6 sugar-free health bars, they have to pay taxes. Because of this unfair rule, people are paying more for healthy products, and it also hurts our local businesses. They end up in an unfair fight against multinational companies. Despite many meetings and asking many questions in this House over the last 2 years, nothing has been done. Will the Prime Minister tell us if he will ask his Minister of Finance to do something about this situation? Please.
The
Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the member. I'd like to thank him for raising this issue. We have spoken about this issue within our government, and we will continue to study his proposal. It seems like a very common sense one, and we will continue to see if it's a good idea and move forward together. Thank you.
Comme il est 15h26.
As it is 3:27, the House will now proceed.
So I'm sorry, gang. I'm going to wrap it up right there. I am so frustrated this afternoon. Like, they just keep lying to our faces. The lies get bigger and longer. Why don't you just back it up, Trudeau, and say, like, sorry, I went corrupt, but now I woke up and I'm going to apologize for, like, why can't you just be a person that's not a narcissist, sociopath, dark triad bullshit? I'm sorry about the swearing earlier, but it does get to you. I watch so much of this politics, guys, and they're wearing me out. Like, they just continue to lie all the time. And, like, it's kind of funny to see, like, a fat skank like Ikra Cleet up there lying her face away to your face. It's not really very funny if that's your job to watch that. Because a lot of people get fooled by it. In little clips they cut up in... It does get me going, guys, because we had a good thing in this country for a long period of time. And they're crushing it. And most people aren't even aware. Watch it in context. It does break my heart. Waiting to go live, and as soon as it gives me a signal. All right, here we're into live right away. Welcome everybody. Tonight's show got a little bit planned. I had the morning, and I was like, get out of your element, do a show. And so I gave it a little bit of thought, and we're gonna do a show tonight. I've got couple things to talk about. In case we run into some technical issues, just brush them off. We're just going to have some fun. I've got one segment that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's the second one. And the first one, if I can, there we go. A couple of additions just to spice it up. Yeah, to start, how was the week? Pretty good week. Last week I sort of realized something, had a realization, and then this week I started working on that. And that's great. So far, so good. So pretty good week here. It's Friday, and I was on vacation today, and so I took the day to, well, I didn't take all of the day. I kind of thought about this in the back of my mind to try a few things out. And yeah, I'm going to start with this little bit. People have probably seen that well, maybe you have not. If you're unaware, I've posted a lot of deer videos recently on this YouTube channel I'm working on. And sorry, I am nervous because I shouldn't be. I'll come back to that because I found a video that was inspiring, a site that we're going to review in a little bit. But first, so these deer that are in my yard, I've been getting closer with them, and I know you're not supposed to get close. It can't be helped here. Like, I mean, you know, I'm a human, and I don't put them towards the road. I don't feed them. But you're shooting it with a camera or shooting the deer with a camera, and they come up to you if you're still, like, anyways, I mean, absolutely no harm to the deer. Like, but this is what I realized. I'm in too deep with these deer. Yeah. While I discuss them, we can have some of their stuff playing. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So these deer, I've gotten pretty attached to them, and again, I've been getting close with them, just shooting them. I care about them. I don't want anything bad to happen. I know something probably will. I'm right there. This camera that's above me, that actually is the street I live on. It's just a shot of the street in real time. Anyway, I live right there with the deer. So something could happen. Little fawns aren't, you know, they're all reaction and they get spooked. But yesterday I was shooting them and recording them, and they were in a different spot. And then my neighbor's place that recently was sold, I think the family that must have bought it had other families in to look at it. And there were so many people, and their exit, the way that it's set up, these people were sort of pushing the deer towards Herring Cove Road, and there wasn't a lot of space. And I was just shooting like in between them and the road so they wouldn't go through me. And it was rush hour. Anyway, the people were all excited to see the deer, and I'm trying to like gesture to the people and say, like, don't put them towards the road. And they didn't really, there's a bit of a language barrier. And there was one guy that understood exactly what I meant and was trying to explain to the other people. But anyways, there was all the deer were there last night. So no harm, no foul. But I'm in over my head. I care about the deer too much, and then something is going to happen probably. Anyway, hopefully not. We're crossing our fingers that nothing like that happens. And yeah. So yeah, the deer, they're great, a lot of fun. But what I thought I would do now, we're going to jump into this other segment. I was thinking today, how can I interest people to watch? Like, they're not going to be interested in hearing about my day too much, whatever. But we're all a little narcissistic, right? And it's no shame. We're all a bit that way. Sorry, guys. Let's get rid of that. And yeah, here we go. So we're gonna jump into Facebook and talk about like us. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we're gonna jump sorry, it seems like just to my stuff, but no, we're going to go to my friends because those are probably the only people that stand a chance. Like, I don't presume anybody's watching, but in case anybody wanted to or was interested, I did set up this to go live. I set this up a couple of hours ago and thought this would be a funny segment to go through. Just shout outs of my friends that I have on the Ehren channel. And everybody here really knows me as Aaron McDonald. Obviously, I'm Aaron McDonald. This is just a nickname that I came up with. Well, my nickname was Aaron M growing up, right? Because of me and Aaron B. Or Aaron McDonald, Aaron Burns. And so he was Aaron B, I was Aaron M. And I needed the email address, so I spelled my name different. That's where that actually came from. Anyway, let's do some shout outs to people, and this is just random order or whatever they fall in. Some friends. Big shout out to Lagaia's Garden. I follow Lagaia's Facebook a little bit closer than other ones. She makes a lot of really fun, positive videos that are about Guysborough and the area and her businesses and her garden, and they're just really fun and positive. So if anybody ever gets a chance or hasn't already, go and check out Lagaia's Garden. She's full of these fun videos. Like, can we watch a Lagaia video on here? Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. Oh, we've got to unmute her.
Doing the duck race here in Boston, Nova Scotia, and everybody are very exciting to get their ducky race. And I'm so lucky.
I think this is the duck race
because it's already sold out.
So not to skip through it, but there's one where they launched the ducks. Anyways, Lagaia's got a lot of great videos on here.
Come on here and let's.
Maybe it was a short. I'm sorry, Lagaia, but anyways, people go and check out Lagaia's site if you haven't already. And again, just running through friends that possibly could be on here that might possibly be watching. And everybody, why does anybody on Facebook? It's for their own attention. Let's be real. Let's and people like Kirby Lumpson, good buddy. Started won't get it. Shout out Kirby, Hazen Hart, Hazen, all the way back, baby. Like grade primary, we were best buddies. Stephanie Hall, I remember you from going way back, like Sunday school. Probably was 4 years old, 3 years old when I started having memories of you and your family. Paul Power, Chris Albert. Shout out to all these people. Mom, Robert Hannafin. If anybody's looking for a fun page, I bet you Robert Hannafin has something fun up here. All of his posts are funny. Like, sorry, I don't know how to navigate Facebook very well, but Robert always has funny stuff. It puts a smile on your face. Kim Shepard. So successful. Congratulations. Or not so successful. I see you on here. It's fun. Shout out Charlotte Sullivan, Charlotte Cosgrove, Chris, what's up? Cousin Donna, shout out. Cousin Gina, what's up? Corinne Conley, hope you had a good vacation. Lori McDonald, shout out, what's up? Nicole Kelly, what's up? I get a kick out of your post too. It's a lot of fun. What's up? JJ was my next door neighbor when I was really young. Steve McMaster, shout out. Nicole Clary, all the pictures you post with the kids in their sports is great. John C. McLean, shout out. Annie Ganesh, Piper's Pub, 1999 to 2002, something like that. Those were the days. Aunt Debbie, shout out. Belinda Cleary, what's up? My dad was a big fan. I know lots of other people home are. So many people, shout out Christy. I had these people in swim. So when I'm on here, I feel like I know everybody. Andrew Brown, quick Andrew Brown story. Way back in probably like 1980, 8. The first year of the high school hockey league for our what was for the 4 schools, our regional school board, I guess. And so I was in grade 7. Jason Dorrington and I were both in grade 7, and we were playing with kids that were like in grade 12. Who was in grade 12? Probably Derek Hart and Andrew Brown. And so Jason and I were again very good athletes for our grade, but we were certainly out of our water. And Andrew Brown, it's not that he put us in our place, but he treated us like one of the boys, but we were the butt of all the jokes and picking on us, and like it was so much fun. I love being on that hockey team. Andrew Brown, shout out, what's up? Everybody here, like it's so interesting to see all the people and the different memories that you have for everybody, like all of these people. I want to give everybody shout outs because I love all you people, like Dave Grandy, Greg Ross, like with John C. You know, those were the days, guys. And all of my friends from high school, my graduating class, Lori, Rich, Bam, Lynn. Not graduating class, shout out cousin Leanne. Chris Anderson, I've seen a whole bunch of pictures of your trip home. Looked like a lot of fun. Oh, sorry guys, I'm not scrolling through with you. Anyway, these are just the people. What up, Chris Hargrove? Yeah. Eddie England, Tim DeCoste, Paul Haynes. Evan Haynes is probably on here too somewhere. I think you guys might be having a family reunion this weekend. Shout out to that. Have a great time. Mary Conley, you were helpful to me at a period of time, like with government stuff. It's great. Shout out Rowena Dill, Tracy Long. It's just so much fun. So I thought it would be fun to do a segment like this. The McIntosh family, Jim Muse, hey, what up? Everybody, Stephanie Bishop, Jason, everybody, I love y'all. Like, and I don't mean to be skipping any names because, I probably shouldn't have said any names at all. But Jimmy Kerr, holy Lord, Dave Surratt, like different people, different times. But most of the people are related to Guysborough, or by now are grown adults that were children of friends. Like it's a lot of fun to think that. What are we looking at here? Okay. Yeah. Oh, we can get back up there. Yeah. So, sorry, technical. It's one of my ideas tonight about going and trying to do a show actually with little bits of segments or pieces, a little bit of a plan. Was because I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to screw up. And I do want to get good at this. I don't think that I'm good or anything, but I'm going to try. I saw a video earlier this week of a guy it was his it said on it the second video, but it was his first or second video that he'd ever tried starting a blog. And the things that he was saying, I'm not going to lie, it inspired me. So I subscribed to his channel. I think I was like the 4th subscriber or something. His video isn't great, except it is inspiring, like, because I have all of these things that I need to work at. I believe that I can do it if I just work hard. And he's so out there. He's so honest when he's talking. It's kind of funny when we watch. He's guys. He says he talks right to. Not different than what I'm doing. Anyways, I saw a lot of myself in that, and I was inspired by his outlook, and he's just going to try. Anyway, we'll slip back to that piece. Yeah, or maybe we can slip into that right away. Maybe we can, because now I scheduled an hour. I probably won't go an hour. I will feel like I'm stretching it if I go for that, and I kind of want to show this video, and also I might be posting this one because I'm recording it as we're going live, and post it on YouTube. Do you tell me if you think that this is a good idea? You take a show like this where you know the people that you're talking to. Shout out Jeff Cook, Travis Clary, Jeff Byard, Sean Conley, Tyler Kerr. What a group. James LeBlanc, Neil Manthorn, Jamie Lowe, Brendan Bushell. Everybody, man. Allison Grady, what's up? Martin Rogers, what's up, Delphine? Glenn Dorrington, man, it's awesome. Jacqueline Clinton, Helen Murphy, hello. Patty Jameson, Derek McPhail. And again, I don't think anybody's watching, but who knows? We'll see. Lauren Dekoff, Lisa, Joe McCackern, hey, what's up? Everybody, man. And I don't mean to be skipping your name. What's up, Jen? It's just there's a lot of names. Chris Clary, Sup, Ron Procure, Byron Grady. Yeah, so those are Ian Seals, what's up? Fred Monroe, Matt Rogers, Amanda Halverson, how are you? What's going on? Nicole Pelly. Everybody, man. It's sweet. And Jared Curry, I haven't seen you in a long time, bro. What's up, Wade? What's going on? Anybody, you can tell anybody that you hear mentioned in this, like you were mentioned in a video, they'll watch it. So this is the idea, to do this, and people would subscribe to the Facebook, so it's a smaller group, and they might get a shout out or acknowledged or something. And I will try to bring better material. It can't just be shout outs, but do you remember Romper Room? Do you remember Romper Room back in the day? At the end of the show, she would just like look into the magic mirror, which we could do that on here. I know how to do that trick. And but that was like the late 70s, not even early 80s. So it was quite a trick back then. And she would say the names of all the people that were glad joined the show, and they just have select name of popular names. And so you'd hear your name, or you'd always be waiting to a little bit of that. Not that, again, it's so humiliating to be like, well, these are my plans, but a little bit. And again, you would need better content. But let's go into some of the content. That video that I mentioned just a moment ago that inspired me. Let's check it out. This is it. And yeah, let's go. Guys, I'm so nervous. I see myself in this guy. Like it's not different. How do we get it to go? Go.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Today is July 26th, and I wanted to share with you guys.
What is he saying?
A couple things. Let me just take a couple seconds. I'm kind of nervous. I haven't recorded a blog.
It's so honest. Like, I love how honest it is.
I am so nervous, you guys. I do not know what to say. I am freezing up. I try to think.
And not for anything. I saw this like last week or whatever. And I saw it last week or earlier this week, whenever. But I've watched them do a couple more videos. They have gotten better. Like, not that this one's bad. Like, it's a first go. Who expects to be a pro right away? Like,
and I go on blank. Well, right now.
So you can check out his channel as well.
I kind of wanted to explain my situation, you guys. I wanted to explain. I
love it.
What I'm doing, what I'm trying to do. Okay, so right now I am trying to record a blog.
Okay, you go.
I do not have a GoPro. I am using my iPhone right now.
It's good. It's good.
Well, right now a couple hours ago I got out of work. So right now I'm still in my work clothes. I need a haircut. I need to get my eyebrows done. And I need to shave. I think I'm gonna end up shaving off my beard.
So again, at no point am I like laughing at this person, because I'm not. It's I find it funny because it's the same as what I'm doing, and you're so self-conscious getting on here when you're trying to like reach an audience, when you're not even sure what you're going to say. I went for technical skills first, and just having fun learning how to do this, but other people don't really have that background or knowledge. And so, but he is learning. Like if you end up watching some of his other videos, he is
right
getting
now,
better. And he's so honest in those videos too.
Some acne. So I am not camera ready. I am not camera ready.
It's such an
Oh my
honest
God,
realization.
I am so nervous,
like,
you guys.
It's so hard to get on here and go live. Well, like without being prepared, it's
I do not know what to say.
very
But I'm gonna continue recording because I have to get better at this.
This is where it starts to get inspiring. It really, to
So
me,
right
it-
now, I have nothing planned out.
Yeah.
I think today I might go to the gym. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Well, right now, all I know is I'm trying to record this blog. You guys, I have ADHD, and I know I'm not a professional. I know this is not a professional, but it will be.
See, this
I
is the
believe in
inspire.
myself.
There it is. Here it comes. This is it. This is why I'm
I
showing it.
believe I have the potential to create video blogs. I want to be able to talk to you guys. I want to be able to be heard. And one way to do it is through blogs.
And he's realizing it as he like that you.
Why do I want to be heard?
I can see the ball rolling in his head.
Because I want you to get the right version of me.
Yeah. This is nerve-wracking.
Like I want you to get to know me.
See, well, there for me, that's a little bit different. I don't necessarily want you to get to know me. Maybe it's something like that, but I don't really know if I have any. Yeah, now I'm starting to. I'll sound like guys. I'm so nervous, which I am. It seems like I'm laughing at with Ant or with Ant at a little bit. Like he can laugh at me. I sent this guy messages saying like, "Hey, buddy, I'm starting a similar thing, and I'm going to send him a copy of this video when I'm finished it, showing him that I shared his stuff and reviewed it, and that I thought it was great."
Okay, you guys. Right now, I completely forgot. Everything just went away.
Who hasn't been there?
I don't know what to say, but I'm gonna continue recording because this is a Eugene blog number 2, you guys. This is my video blog number 2. Okay, I'm a little bit more chill now.
Chilled out because you got the confessions out of the way.
Okay, so yes,
you
guys,
do get more
you guys,
comfortable.
My plans are to create YouTube blogs and get more professional at them.
It happens right in
now.
front
I
of
am
your
working.
eyes.
I am working at. I don't want to mention the warehouse name right now.
It's probably smart.
I don't know why I don't want to mention where I work.
Because it's smart.
Don't bother. I'm not tripping or anything. But I work at a warehouse, right?
It's all right.
Okay, you guys.
Okay, you guys. Okay.
I am so fucking nervous.
So, also just to point out, tonight I believe it has been a little bit better with my word stumbles. And weird how you'll try to get yourself to stop saying phrases that are fallbacks for you. But in the back of my mind, I've been trying to put it like stop, trying to think a couple of steps ahead of when I'm speaking, which I haven't been accustomed to doing for a long time. It's mostly just thought out, like brain mouth, not a relay that makes sure that it's coming out on the final end the right way. So I'm not making fun of, well, I'm teasing.
I am so nervous.
Guys.
This footage
Guys.
right here is like,
it's awesome.
This is golden. This moment right here is golden.
This is the positivity, man. This is why it's inspiring.
I know this video is not perfect.
No, it's not. But
I know
this
it
is
didn't come.
great.
It's not coming out the way I want to.
Yeah, it's good.
But it's coming out the way it has to.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Well, I haven't uploaded anything on my YouTube. I really wanted to upload a video, so this is why I continue recording.
I watched this on another channel. I just liked it. Oh,
content,
cool. Well, I like videos.
Maybe
I started. Yeah.
not all that good.
Never mind.
I am just talking, and I have no subject, no topic.
It's okay.
I
It's
just
a
want to let you guys
realization,
know
bro.
that I want to
Right.
start recording blogs. I believe myself.
It's so positive.
I believe I
Like,
got talent.
Yeah, you have talent. That's
And right now, I have an iPhone. That's all I have.
You can start with this. It's tricky for the
And
editing.
I'm gonna use
'cause-
that iPhone.
But I'm broadcasting, which is a challenge to learn. But
well,
it's pretty.
I just
nifty,
want to
right?
thank you guys for watching my video. I am so nervous. I am gonna get better at this.
It's wicked. It's wicked.
promise you
I
guys
applaud.
that.
I applaud this
I'm
guy.
gonna get better at this, and if
Yeah.
you watch my video, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I am just starting. Thank you for watching me.
Yeah.
Please subscribe and like the video. Click the bell. Thank you. Hey, you guys. Good afternoon.
All right. So we're gonna wrap up right there. Very inspiring. My name's Ehren. This is Canadian Looney. We have a bunch of fun. We're getting better at this. I think we just ran a couple of hours of like old video, and I've got hundreds of hours more of that. So much. But we care about Canadian politics and showing Canadians what's actually happening. Like, not these little clips. Political commentary in context, like long form. You see the whole video. It makes a difference because, like, if CBC wants to show you a 30-second clip of Freeland looking smart, they could probably dig that out, but not like when it's in context like we do here. Anyhow, Ehren, thank you all so much for watching. Canadian Looney right here. We'll be back tomorrow covering question period. We do a live broadcast every day on that stuff, and we've got the most incredible chat room. The chat room is the reason that you'll return to that like channel, because you can watch question period like lots of places. Our chat room is cool though. You've got to see it to believe it. Anyways, we're out for now. Thank you all for watching. Ehren, question period. Canadian Looney. Like, subscribe, share, get notified, all those fun things. Please leave a comment. Out.